Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.
It's Friday, my dudes.
TGIF, everybody. It is Friday, my dudes. Welcome to Have No Sphere, right here on the Iron Rail Media YouTube channel. My name is Josh Corey, and as you might have guessed, we've got quite the show planned. Let's just jump right in and say hello to everybody, first of all, starting off with one Mrs. Kemi Nodell, just because I'm so excited for all the big things that they've got coming their way. Kemi, how has your week been?
Oh, my week has been fabulous. Gotten a lot done with the house. I'm kind of, like I told you earlier, on a little cleaning high from all the fumes and all the cleaning solutions, the Windex and the different things, but doing really good and grateful on how well things are going and what good friends I have.
Well, I gotta say, you did not join us this morning over there on the Ironworks, but boy, did you have quite the effect on the Ironworks this morning. We started off the show, Zach was still just kind of bright-eyed, and you could just tell he was still pretty amped up. He woke up to the smell of smoke, thought the house was on fire.
I thought I was doing a good thing, and I did say hi in the chat, and I did not jump on the show. And when you guys were getting up and going was when I was going to bed, and I thought I would finish the night with cleaning the oven. And I thought, great idea. Started at 2:00 in the morning, and it'll be all ready to go in the morning. And I put it on, and I forgot to put the fan on above the stove on. So what it did was it smoked out the house, and that's right about the time, like a half hour into it, that Zach is getting up, and that's also because of where I am in the house. It didn't come to me right away. It took a while for me to notice how stinky it was, but you came down, and the house kind of pretty much smelled like it was on fire. So he woke up to that adrenaline. Oh my God, house is on fire, and it was me cleaning the oven. So I'm so sorry, Zach. You live with a crazy person.
No, it was well worth it. It was nice to, I don't know. You got to shake it up a little bit. You can't let Zach get too comfortable.
Oh yeah, that definitely it was. I'm sure fun. We don't let him get comfortable at all.
Well, let's just say hello to the man himself, Mr. Zachary Zabala, Z Squared. You may even know him here on YouTube as Good Times for All. Zach, you feeling better? You recuperated? You recovered?
Oh, yeah, feeling a lot better. How is everybody doing out there? Hope you're all having a good one. Yeah, got some much needed rest. Went shopping this morning and saw a few more people not wearing masks. It was nice. Even one of the workers.
Wow. Nice.
I mean, he had to have one around his neck. There was actually like 3 or 4 of them. When I walked by, he just gave me like the biggest like heads up, like, yeah, man. Yeah,
F the man.
yeah, it was cool. He was like, "What's up, brother?" Yeah, it was. But yeah, not a bad day. Cleaned the grout in the kitchen. I did about a third of it last night, and then knocked out the rest today. Doesn't look too bad. A couple spots here and there, but it looks all right. Whenever you do something, you're always your worst critic. So
Yeah,
it definitely looks better than it did. We'll say that. But yeah, got some stuff done today. About a half an hour work clean up out in the garage, and we'll be ready for pictures tomorrow.
Ooh, hot damn.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Progress.
This is what I mean about good friends, and this is what fun times at Cammy's house has been. Ooh, let's scrub grout.
Well, it's all for the greater good, I suppose.
Yep.
Well, let's say hello to one Mr. John Savage. Savage! Who's around here somewhere. John, how's your week been, sir?
Hello, good evening. Yeah, my week's, I don't know, I'm struggling. I've been sat here struggling to think of what the hell I've done all week, and I haven't really come up with anything, so I can't say I've been scrubbing grout or anything, or doing anything in particular, really. But yeah, quite boring, really. It's been pissing it down, though. But there you go. So yeah, looking forward to tonight's show. We've already had a blinder meeting on Wednesday with our special guest. So yeah, expecting good stuff tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an excellent conversation. Well, Walter is on his way. We surprised him. He thought it was going to be 30 minutes later than what we actually started. So we caught him off guard. He's on his way. He'll be here ASAP.
No worries. But how has your week been, Josh?
Oh, well, I got to earn those life credits. But, second wave is coming. I'm still getting hazard pay. So, still more money in my pocket. Silly sheep. That's all right.
Catch that wave. Ride that wave.
So, yeah, I think I pulled my mask up once today for all of about 15 seconds. And since it's just that neck gaiter, I just have to be hot all day and wear it around my neck, but it beats wearing an actual face mask.
Are other people doing the same? I mean,
Yeah, there's quite a few people.
Because they're threatening it at my wife's work for mandatory masks, and I'm sort of saying to her, I don't think people will do it, to be honest. It's so ridiculous.
Well,
but anyway.
I saw the governor of California was trying to mandate the use of masks when out in public. If you can't be at least 6 feet away, then you masks are mandatory, according to this guy.
Yeah.
See, if I have to, I'll go to a doctor and get a disability thing. It's not a problem.
That's what I said to my wife.
Try it.
Go in, stick
No,
your
I can't. I mean,
mask
my
on.
lungs have collapsed enough times. There's no way they're going to tell me I have to restrict my breathing.
That's true.
I just said go to work and pass out, and then go back to work and pass out, and then go to the doctor and say, I just keep passing out every time I put this silly mask on. And they'll soon sign you off.
Yeah. Surely. Can't be that difficult.
Yeah, if I was a money-grubbing evil person, I would have already had that thing, and I would have been suing people for not allowing me into places.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's $75,000 the first time. $75,000 for them to refuse you service if you're disabled and can't wear a mask, and you tell them, "Hey, I have a disability, I can't." And if you actually do, if they call your bluff and you actually do have all that paperwork and stuff, you can, sue them for that. But I mean, I don't know.
And even to call your bluff, there has to be like a hearing and things that have to actually. It's not something that gets resolved that day.
Yeah.
So they've got to really be willing to double down on their desire to have you wear a mask to go through all that trouble just to fight against your disability. So the chances are pretty slim, I would say. But it is a possibility. They can ask, they can force the issue, but it won't be cheap. Well, let's just jump right in and say hello to our guest. Mr. Martin. Mudflood, Tartaria, comets, star forts, you name it. This man is a wealth of information. I love it. It's just an absolute pleasure and honor to have you joining us today, Martin. Welcome back to Have No Sphere and the Iron Realm.
Yay. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, guys. Thank you, fam.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, good to have you
Amazing,
back.
amazing stuff, man.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, it's been really good.
Every time I watch your show, my mind just gets blown again, and I have to
Gonna
think
talk the
like
last 2.5
everything.
hours, but I got carried away with the one portion of it. But it was just too good to not show, you know. But it lasted like that part lasted like an hour and a half. But you know, I was just thinking, should I just scrap that and start over? I'm thinking, well, no, in hindsight, I couldn't really let go because they were that fantastic. So I should just go with it. But I only done like a third of what I was gonna present, and it still went on for 2.5 hours. So I don't know. That was for my Saturday show tomorrow. But more importantly, Zach, right? What did you use to clean your tiles? I was cleaning tiles today, the grout.
It was some stuff they had. It was made specifically for tile and grout. It was a cleaner and a sealer, all in one.
Right.
And I didn't know if it was going to work, but it worked really well.
Martin,
Hmm.
bleach.
Yeah, I tried it, John. It's just not coming up. I tried Brillo pads very carefully, keeping away from the tiles, not to scratch them.
No, they make the tiles go all, they make the grout go all green.
No, I
They're no
did it
good.
lightly, obviously.
No, right.
Try a little bit of baking soda and just sprinkle
Yeah.
baking soda along that grout, and then take a lemon and squeeze a lemon over top of that and get that to activate and bubble and do all that stuff, and that might pull some of that dirt up out of that grout.
Yeah, I think I'll try that actually.
I've found though that you can't use your Happy Shopper bleach, even if it says it's thick. It's absolute pants. You got to get some of that horrible Unilever stuff, the real nasty Unilever.
I am busted. It is Happy Shopper. It is Happy Shopper.
Yeah, well, I've used it myself. Literally, I've used a whole tub of that stuff, and it's useless. Get yourself some of that thick old Unilever nasty bastard stuff. Soak a bit of bog roll with it and run it along the grout, soaked in that proper bleach, and leave it there for a few hours. It'll be gone.
Cool.
I only found that out a couple of months ago, and it's works a treat.
All right.
Yeah, the stuff that I used was called Tile Lab for Stone Pore Care. It has now. I was looking at to see if there was any ingredients on here, and there's not one.
No, the product he's using is, it's for stone tiles, and it's like a cement grout between it. It's not like the grout in a bathroom or a plasticky grout. So it could be a different product. But as far as that goes, John, just so you know, your entire explanation on how to clean it and the product names and that, you may as well have been in a foreign language. None of those things.
Likewise, we haven't a clue what you're talking about either, but there you go.
I know
Unilever. You've got Unilever, haven't you?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, well, they'll make some kick-ass bleach because all they make is nasty shit.
Bar soap. I know bar soap. I don't know if they make much more than bar soap.
Well, they bought Marmite, and that turned to rat shit. They bought Vegemite. They bought Hellman's mayonnaise. They bought, you name it. It's Unilever now, and it's the nastiest bastard stuff out there. But yeah, it works a treat. Well, you see, because my wife went away to Australia in the days before the event, and I spent the whole time degrouting the bathroom with my new oscillating tool, and diamond tip degrouting thing. And yeah, it was great. Really worked a treat. And then I regrouted it all diligently, and I put in these huge sealant, white sealant bits around the bath and everything. And it was beautiful for about a month. And then it turned to rat shit and went black and horrible. And I was gutted every time I was in there. So I went searching for the solution, and it's definitely domestos. And it kills coronavirus. So we're laughing as if coronavirus is alive.
Yeah, that's why that product has a sealer in it. The one that I gave Zach, or the one that Zach using, the cleaner and sealer, so it doesn't do that. But yeah, that's sad. After all that work.
Yeah, well, it's it's because we're so lazy we can't be bothered to clean it every day. So you just blitz it with bleach every month, and it looks sparkling. Savage tips there, you see.
Well, let's say hello to one Mr. Walter Johnson, since he's busy trying to figure out how to get out of the Iron Realm Media account there in chat.
This I've been wrestling with all day, actually, because some stuff still signed in from when I was in Oregon. I got crap on my phone. So, yeah, I've been playing, trying to get things set up, and then it wouldn't set up. But I see all the stuff I put is what you have here, so I'm still confused. But hello, Martin. My apologies for being
Hey,
late, my
Walt.
friend. How you doing?
You better.
Been looking forward to this all day, so I am definitely pumped up.
You too.
Hello, everybody here in the family. Hello, chat. I see you guys trying to get in there.
So if those of you who don't know, Walter was recently on Beth Martin's show. The King's Hero Journey, I think is the name. Something to that effect.
Yeah,
Which
great,
was an
great channel, great show. If you haven't checked out Beth Martin's work, guys, you should be able. I know most people here in our chat are very familiar with Beth and her King's Heroes and Merpreneur. Man, I'll never say it.
Oh.
John nailed it. What is it, John?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Exactly. Later in the show, he'll be able to say it.
I didn't know you were going on Beth's show. That's awesome.
It was
How did
kind of
go?
like when she just happened, last minute kind of thing, and she was like, "Yeah, come on." I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." Right, literally the day after I got home or two, she was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So I'm like, "Let's do it." And then
she's
I had a blast.
a
Phenomenal.
lovely person. You just
She is.
have to look at her to know that she's she's sort of exuding nice kindness and yeah. Cool. I'll have
Exactly.
to go and,
Positivity, energy, all of that. So definitely go check it out. She had a guy named Jerry Marzinski on there yesterday. If you are not familiar with his work, definitely something to check out. A lot of the things he mentioned, we've all had experiences with, and it's a different side of it all. So
Well, I had
that's
just
enough about me and all my crap. Go check it out on Beth's channel. It's awesome. We're going to get her over here as soon as we can again, because there's so many layers there. So, but I
Beth
did have a
is
blast.
also Beth is also a really good friend of mine and a member of the Bitches Brew. She's one.
This is true, man.
This is true. She's one of the traveling ladies that we have a ladies show, and the show will be on her channel Sunday night at 6 o'clock Mountain, I believe, which would be 5 o'clock Central Time. This coming up Sunday. So speaking of her, she has a show with myself and Rose and Karen and Patricia and Jen and whatever other ladies join us that night. So I'm really looking forward to it.
You know what? You're going to get to host here soon, aren't you? So we'll have a bitches brew here on the Iron Realm.
That's exactly what we're going to be doing, is having a bitches brew on the Iron Realm. And I'm hoping, you guys don't get to be on the panel, but I'm hoping you'll give me tech support in the background and kudos. And I'm looking forward for that too.
You know it.
Boys' night out, I think.
Right?
Well, I'll get to stay in and I'll be able to focus on one job, and that'll be nice.
Yeah, I will probably put that off until it'll probably be like 3 weeks out, because hopefully we'll have our house sold by then. Because right now we'll after Sunday be on one of those things where you vacate after 2 hours notice to show the house.
Mm-hmm.
Always be on call to leave. So yeah, fun times coming up.
Well, we look forward to that. Shout
So,
out
Martin.
to Rose 777, by the way. Go ahead, John.
I found out recently that you have written a book, and I didn't know about it. And that's not surprising because I don't get around too much, but that's quite an achievement, mate.
I'm working on book 2 now.
Yeah, what's that? What was the first book called?
The Holy Grail of our flat Earth.
Sweet, yes.
Undebunkable proof of flatness, as decoded from antiquity, as decoded and deciphered from alchemical images and basically Phoenician coding. And what they told us was everything.
Wow.
The true shape of this place is encoded in everything these people present to us. They like to show us in our face what this place is. The electromagnetic structure, not the shape of this place physically, but the mechanism for it, as in what we call 4 angels, which is double torus model. So that is what the book presents, is just undebunkable. It's been put together that way, so it can't be. Proof of flatness.
And have you had good feedback on it?
Yeah, 100% positive. The only complaint I had is the people who basically printed the book cropped my photograph on the back so you can only see one of my eyes.
Oh,
yeah. So
I bet you got help for that.
Oh yes, Cammy. You should have seen it. That on the feedback. I've read the feedback thing in my Amazon. There's an I got an Amazon sort of profile on there for authors, and it says like the only one. It was just one guy kicked it off, but he set off a big stream. Of oh yeah. So I think this might be highly suspect. It's like I just wrote the book. I don't have nothing to do with printing it and actually making the cover.
They could probably put the title into a cipher, and one cipher will say it adds up to 33 as well. Surely,
yeah.
Like anyone cares.
But yeah,
Most people on their fruits, I know you like your photos and everything. So is it a colour book, or have you got lots of photos in there? Well, probably not actually, because you'd have to put copyright or something.
Yeah. There's plenty of basically to like really select, because select out of thousands just to get it right, because a picture speaks 1,000 words, doesn't it? So yeah, there's probably about 30 odd lovely pictures in there. So yeah, no, honestly, it's
cool.
I actually enjoyed to do that. I really enjoyed it, but
I think I may get clobbered.
Thanks.
Do you not get clobbered by copyright or anything like that? Or?
No, I had to make sure that this was the whole thing. It took a long time, everything had to be, copyright free, royalty free stuff. Including images. So yeah, everything had to be covered, deep, everything had to be,
I remember my dad writing his book, and it was all about the sort of church.
Yeah, it was murder. That was where the last months went, was all of that part of it, when it was completed and stuff, and just being tweaked. And then basically after I got my channel hacked and I lost all my data, everything, about 6 weeks after that, I get a message from my publicist saying, really sorry about this, but we've had a hack. And I've had a guy in for days working on my computer. He says it's like a military style hack, never seen the like. Everything is mixed up, everything is scrambled, and it might take some time to your book was in there, Matt. I'm really sorry. It's like, what do you mean? Yeah, okay.
and your other eye was in there too, wasn't it?
So yeah, I had to start I had this channel taken out, so I had to start on one subscriber and start off. I just spent the last 8-9 months of just solid work putting the book together, and then it sort of scrambled as well. Weeks later, it's like, oh my god, everything's just falling apart on me here. Somebody really wants to take me out, but I rode through it and got the other side and made it all work somehow.
Well, I was your 4th subscriber, as far as I remember.
Serious now? Oh, wow! Back in the day, 2015.
No, on the second round.
On the second channel.
But no, I mean it's sort of quite an epic comeback for you, isn't it? Because you had a huge following, and then you just cut off at the knees, weren't you? And a lot of people would have just walked away at that point.
I just not feeling it at the moment. It's like I use it as a resource. Okay, there's over 1,000 videos, tens of thousands of links box with them, the books and atlases. So I leave that. I thought I'd just carry on with this channel, the Mountain Liedtke channel. I really dig it. And just see if I can take it. I soon grab subscribers. I've grabbed like 2,500 subscribers in the last 28 days.
That's impressive.
It's compelling. It's interesting viewing. It's. I just wish I had the hours in the day to.
Well, we're on a threshold. Been some groundbreaking stuff happening, guys. You know, if you follow what's been happening on all these channels, you know, these Italian mud flood channels. Well, a few of us have been working together. You know, putting our heads together for real answers. You know, just big parts of the puzzle piece have fallen into place over the last few weeks. It's been really exciting. It gives you goose pimples every time you think about it all. It just blows you out the water. It's almost like, you know, what they'd akin to a religious experience. It just leaves you in a bubble floating. It's just the most magnificent thing. I can't even describe how fantastic it is all happening.
Not even a little bit? I want a
Yeah,
religious
would-
experience.
Would it be an exclusive if you talked about
Come on,
it?
man. Just watch the Flat Earth British experience, guys, as it unfolds. And
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
else
tease.
is on this, you know. It's just, you know, I had like a hangout this week. I'm going to do a lot more of this, putting our heads together with other people in the field so we can bounce off one another. And I found we got far more results like that. And puzzle pieces. I did a live stream with Autodidactic Channel, who's Campbell in Australia. It's brilliant, brilliant work. And just bouncing off one another. And answers just start to fall into place this week. But yeah, with the field, it is opened up in, you know, it was a really massive multi-spectrum subject anyway. But the genres have just opened up, I mean, fantastically. You know, this subject triggers the imagination like nothing else, in my opinion. You know, and I'm hard to satisfy on the imagination front, guys, yeah, because my imagination's very vivid. This satisfies it. Yeah, this keeps me complicated. But this has just gone off into realms of just, since all of this has happened with the whatever is happening, it's helped. Because now people can see, hang on a minute, they just locked all of humanity down. Now anything is possible. So they won't be so eager to say that, you know, anything is not true without looking at it. So it's helped. It's helped. It really has. It's been with the truth in. I think this virus has helped. That's what I think. But history is what everyone's looking at. You know, to find out where we're going in the future, you have to look at the past, because history's been repeated over and over again. Us and them over again. That's what happens. And people sense it and they will look for answers. And first they look through they get sort of want to look into old photographs. They feel a bit like, you know, melancholic for the past. Then they want to know about their history, and then they dig into history. So, but fortunately, they go with official narratives, which are completely fake and false, which I posted. I done a little vlog tonight, and I must have shown in 2.5 hours maybe 20 proofs of the official narrative being completely false. I even produced one book where they, because I've been thinking about our last conversation, John, about King John III.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I found this ancient book. It's absolutely brilliant. Well, it's not ancient, it's from 1932. Okay. But the guy's talking about prophecies, and he talks and he explains about how they hijacked. He talks about the real dynasty of Britain. And basically, he just explains it all in this book. I read it tonight in my blog. It's about the Phoenicians were here in Britain way before the Romans. And the Romans ain't even the Romans. And they're into the Phoenicians. And explains it all in this book, goes into some detail as well. It's brilliant. They came here mining tin.
right.
I got it. I asked my son, because he's a metallurgist and he's big, you know, we got a YouTube channel for this subject. What would they need so much tin for? Now, I'm aware that, you know, when they took out Tartaria, the biggest mining thing in Tartaria was Quicksilver. You know, the type of thing you put on the back of mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, why would they need so much Quicksilver? But why would they need so much tin? Well, it's supposed to be the Bronze Age. So I guess tin mixed with copper, the bronze, maybe. But he said, well, they also use it in computer components, you know that. So we're like, what, solder? Oh, yeah. Like, really? Yeah, it could be computer. So I'm thinking that maybe they wanted Britain for the mines for the tin, something more technological. Because as far as we can see, we're the most backwards of all of these civilizations. We don't use the real magic of this place, the magic that bursts forth off the ether. They use,
Exactly.
yeah, they're using it against us because they know the knowledge. Okay.
When you said Quicksilver, you meant Mercury. Is that
Hmm.
the same there in England?
Well, Quicksilver is a liquid silver, isn't it? So it could be gallium or it could be mercury.
Well, the reason I ask is I know Mercury is one of those like really. There's a
we're
lot
looking into it. It's on the look. It's,
alchemy and that kind of thing. You know.
I don't even know how we got you, Walt. Okay, but at this stage, time travel is on the cards. We're talking about it all the time, and portal technology. We're talking about, you know, what's really going on with the sun and the moon. Okay, we're talking about mirrors, and we're talking about Quicksilver.
Absolutely.
What's become apparent this last couple of weeks is the most mind-blowing thing. It can't be confirmed, but neither can it be denied. The official narrative is this thing's a psyop, okay, which leads me to think that this thing's real. Red mercury, okay? Now, red mercury cannot be seen, the reflection cannot be seen in the mirror, okay? So some YouTubers like Global Vision in Russia, he put it out as vampire blood, okay? Now, go to the film The Matrix, okay, and he offers him a blue and he offers him a red pill. He takes the red pill, and what's the first thing that happens is he touches the mirror. He encompasses the mirror and he goes into the mirror, okay? In the program, in the simulation. Now, with this red mercury, it actually does reflect. And what it doesn't do is it doesn't reflect twice. So the light will hit the mirror of the red mercury, but it won't reflect back. So what is essentially happening, guys, is the mirror is eating, is swallowing the red light waves, guys. How can this fucking possibly be? It's disappearing somewhere else, guys. The red light waves. Another dimension in a mirror. So that blown everyone away. It's got everyone thinking about mirrors. Now, when I've been thinking about mirrors, wow, indeed, Zach. It's the most mind-blowing thing ever, honestly. And I've expanded upon it. I looked into Cozy Ed's mirrors. I sort of wish I hadn't, because they've been on my mind in my dreams, where they set this operation up with these mirrors. And this stuff's been associated way back, like Monroe Institute stuff and all of that. You know, it's been associated with consciousness studies. And these mirrors, when placed right, anybody that's had any influence with these mirrors can see glimpses of the future. They say that they document them and they prepare accordingly for what's to come. Not only that, lamas in High Tibet have these stone monuments, these giant stone monuments. We see them all the time on these channels. I show them all the time. They're anomalous. We don't know what they're called. One of these scientists went to High Plateau, Tibet. He seen one of these lamas and he said, well, what's the score with this building? And he said, this building we call the mirrors. What? And it's apparently some sort of Khazariad's mirrors set up style in one of these High Tibetan Plateau Antiquitech machines. Like, so is this a portal, some sort of device for going into another dimension? You know, or, you know, this place could be infinitely, there could be many time lines in here, guys. You know, I'm sort of edging towards thinking sort of this is a simulation. It could explain a lot of the supernatural stuff that's happened in my life. You know, they use it in quantum mechanics terms.
I'm going to lose this if I don't say it, Martin, because you got so much to bring, man. When you talked about the images being actually embedded in the mirror, this is so left field.
I know.
But there is a show I watch, The Flash. I don't know if you guys get it there in the
Yeah.
Okay, so when his mom got killed by the future yellow guy or whatever, that's how he figured it out. Was they went back and the pieces of the mirror in the room where all that happened had been recorded by the light on it. Now, this is all from the physics,
They did that.
science side. This isn't from the comic book
No,
magic
indeed.
crazy side. This is
There's
from the
also
science
mechanics in this
that
field.
they went through and were like, we can get it off the mirror. And I'm like, what the fuck? I never had heard of such a thing. So yeah,
Wow.
that's, you know, they're going to show it to us in movie and TV.
They will. So I think that's what's going on. I think it's a multi-dimensional universe in here, wherever this is and whatever this is. I don't think reality or this place is anything like we originally thought. I think it's malleable. I think that we are creators of this place through positive intent and belief, and not thinking small, thinking big, making change, creating change. I think that's us. And I think that we exist. If you think of this in terms of a program, I think of it on a spiritual level, guys, completely different. Scientists will put it in a quantum mechanics realm because they can't explain the double slit. But I will put it in the spiritual realm. I will say that our thoughts and our minds are all in this place. Okay. I would go as far to say there's only a certain amount of people in this place, very few, okay, that are actually players in reality, it would seem. It would seem, okay. Because so many people have just put in, yeah, and they don't seem to have an input into any forward of reality. They're just there and they exist, and that seems to be it for infinite, for a short period of time.
Do you think there's a point to it, though, Martin?
Yeah.
Do you think there are consequences for your actions as someone watching you? Carry on.
Yes, all of that, I do. I really do think that is exactly the scenario. But, what I think, I guess, like, I tell myself off, John, I'm like, Martin, and I'm talking to me. Okay. This voice is saying, Martin is talking to me in my mind. Okay. Well, to me, that's my higher self. That's where the program is. That's the higher realm where everything truly happens first. Who knows, 10 seconds before the wave function collapse, if you want to think of it in them terms. But the higher realm, okay, is where we exist. And this is physical realm's interpretation of where we really exist. So this is not us. This is a physical manifestation of us. Our souls are not material, guys. They're not made of stuff, yet they're there. And they exist in that realm as well. And as far as I'm concerned, your mind can be, if trained or if you think about this, can exist or touch upon different parallel universes in here. And I believe you can pull talents from doppelganger use, if you like. I think that's a possibility as well. It could be finite, I'm not sure, but I think it's infinite possibilities in this space, guys. And you just, I mentioned the other night with John, this sinister thing going on with photographs and these black mirrors, these scathing mirrors, where there's a billion shots taken every day for Instagram, etc. Yeah. Now, North American Indians and Aboriginals think that it steals your soul. They don't want to look into the camera because it causes a break off in the timeline. And if they keep doing that every single second and trapping someone in a moment in this time, okay, this portal of time, which is also introduced and non-existent, then that could be really, really detrimental to the timeline. And they have given us phones in the last 10 years, and they told everyone to go out and take as many photographs as they possibly could. Instagram it. You got people taking hundreds of photographs of their life. What is that doing? Where's the original timeline? What happened?
That was the same as the tribesmen in Kenya and Tanzania they didn't want their photos taken either, but they would for a couple of hundred shillings. That was cool, but but there must be something to that. I think the Aboriginals are the same, or the originals are the same in Australia as well.
They just know instinctively that there's something wrong with it, with photographs.
I, for the longest time, wouldn't allow my picture to be taken, like, from 18 to, I don't know, my late 20s.
I was the
like,
well, NASA know as well, don't they? They know there's instinctively something wrong with photographs, so they make shit up with CGI instead.
Yeah. Picture taking and being on videos is like one of my big phobias, and part of doing this show and like getting up in front of people and some of the things I've done over the last 2 to 5 years have been overcoming fears that I've been intentionally thinking I'm making myself a better person. But it's funny you say that because some people are really afraid of spiders. I would freak out when I'd see cameras and video cameras, and I went to a lot of work to. You can go back to some of the very beginning hangouts. I remember one of the first shows I was on. I was on there and I looked like a really scared rabbit. And I'm looking at Bob's phone, which has chat up, and Jaron's wife, Missa, was texting, and she thought she was texting Bob. And I'm sitting here thinking, God, I look like a frightened rabbit. And there's this text, oh my God, your wife looks like totally a scared rabbit. I'm laughing, and it's like, yeah, I am, but I'm overcoming a fear right now. But now that you say that maybe it's something born in instinctively, it's something to rethink. When you try to overcome your phobias, maybe they're there for a reason, that instead of getting over a mental disorder, maybe there's something to them.
Definitely. I was the opposite. I like to get in on every photograph, just stick my head in.
I wanted to, which was funny. I'm not shy in person at all. There's just something about a camera that would, again, like a phobia, they make no sense at all why you're scared of it. It's like, I want to be part of the fun. I want to be part of the enjoyment and part of the memories and things like that. But it's, again, a phobia where it makes no sense at all why you freeze up.
No, I really do think there's something deeper going on, because the old technology of photography, what exactly is going on? This is through lenses, and it's not the actual image itself. And look at the word photograph. It's PHO again. It's the Phoenicians. Phonograph, photograph. Anything is connected with them, I'm really suspicious of. It's their magic. This alchemical magic.
What do you think about the Karelian? Is it Karelian photography that captures your aura?
I was getting there in a minute. I was going to the aura photos too. Yep.
I've got some images of it saved. Yeah, it's all mind blowing. I know. I got books of them there. They've been doing them since the 50s. They've been catching, our aura. But I can see them anyway. But to capture them on camera, they don't look like that. Some of them. Now I'm thinking about them in my mind's eye. They look spiky and sticking out. I don't see them like that. I see them as layers, and sort of getting the colours fade out as it gets further up.
What, you see them all the time, or
All the time?
Wow, that's a bit weird.
It's a bit weird. I see them on cars and everything. Cars got the auroras and buses. Oh.
What was that? Stephen King car, possessed car.
Christine.
That's it, yeah.
Love that film.
So you haven't got some funky glasses or something, or a lens?
So you got a couple of car books. There was Buick as well. Buick something or other, but that was a car that was alive as well. Stephen King liked alive cars.
And with Jewel, was that lorry? Did it ever have a driver? I don't think it did. That was a great film.
What was it?
Jewel, Dual.
Oh, Jewel. Oh, yeah. That was Steven Seagal. Spielberg's first film, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
With Weaver from McCloud. Dennis Weaver.
First film that was public. Yeah, who knows what freaking films he made before that.
Yeah, it's a classic film, that is. I might have to watch that now. Thanks.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in black and white when I was, I don't know, must have been teenager or something, looking on my recovered black and white TV that I hid in my cupboard.
Yeah, I had one.
I used to watch snooker on it. Snooker on black and white is a talent. Oh, dear. So what else have you been up to then, Martin? It's non-stop in your place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just manic. It's off the radar every single day. I can't hardly keep up. The wind just carries me away with it.
I think a lot of people are feeling like that. I'm deliberately not trying to keep up with the COVID thing, other than, I don't know, looking at UK column.
When I talk on these shows is the only time I get to analyze my life in any way. Sometimes I guess, I shot myself. I'm thinking, is that going on? Because I can't. I don't. I don't sit there. I'm always in the now or forward thinking. So, I never think about the past. So I don't think about, what's been happening with me, and, my sleep sorts all that out. I sort my files then the next day. But the only time I ever analyze anything is when I talk on these shows. It's really strange. I'll think about it.
It's good to have you on. It's good therapy, cathartic for you.
It's good to reflect. The subject's going off the radar. I'm opening up into different fields all the time. I just I like to diversify, and there's so much in this place to know anyway, and so much to learn. You know, flat Earth, and did that for a couple of years, and then I sprang out into alternative history, and then with Tataria and mud flood getting very popular indeed, because basically everyone in their city could see these buildings and wondering about what's going on now, because that makes no sense. They're half buried in the ground.
And it pops up in the most unexpected places. We
Yeah.
went to eat last night at a local Mexican restaurant in a town a couple of towns over, and
Oh, rub it in, Walt. You
I
were
sat-
out to eat.
forgot. Yeah, some of y'all aren't free. My bad. So there were these photographs on the wall in a corner we never sit in because they were doing the distancing on the tables. And I was looking, and I've never seen anything like it. And I took pictures of the pictures. I'll try to post them here for you guys to see because I knew Martin would be here and he would appreciate them. It looks like they've uncovered this rotunda thing and just took the top layer off and laid the bricks off to the side so they could look like they were building it again. It's really crazy. I'm going to dig them up and throw them in here real quick.
A rotunda, that's interesting, because I've been talking about rotundas tonight.
We were talking about mirrors and parallel universes this morning. So
Yeah.
I listened to this morning show.
So what's a rotunda for retards like me?
Yeah, it's a circular building, sometimes got like colonnades or columns all the way around the exterior. A good example would be the Oxford Camera. Do you know that library?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. But you find
Bodleian, is it?
everywhere.
I thought the Oxford Library was the Bodleian. Is that?
No, the Oxford Cambridge. I visited there about 3-4 years ago with flat earthers there, and that was a library. There is a Bodleian library, but I think that's in the uni.
Right, right. Yeah,
They got exactly the same sort of copy of the Oxford Cambridge in San Francisco, next to the City Hall. It's a perfect circular rotunda, and it's a library. It got taken out in the earthquake thing of 1906, but it's rebuilt now. There's one in the centre of Quebec, a giant rotunda. It's a political building. It looks exactly like the camera. They're all based on the same sort of model as well. Very, very similar buildings. So there's more going on with these rotundas. No doubt about it. Technology.
Interesting. So what's this time travel malarkey that you're getting into?
I'm not getting into it. I've always been into it. It's just before it was not something that I could talk about really. But now I'm just thinking it's an epidemic. I don't really give a fuck. So I'll talk about it. Sorry.
Well, we can't sound any more mad than the people in charge, can we?
No, I've always thought about it. In fact, I had a thing in my head where locally there was.
Okay, so yeah, these. I think this is from 1886. Is that what that says? Can you see?
Greco Romano to me looks like the.
So this is I guess in Mexico City somewhere because the photographs were in a Mexican restaurant. Assumptions I know, but so there's this. Definitely not anything that looks like, I don't know. You're the man that knows more than I. So go to the next one over, Josh. Okay, so there's the rotunda in front of the building in 1953.
What would be the purpose of the Mauritian? Just aesthetically, it doesn't appeal, does it? It's not
there it is being built, quote unquote. And as you see, those bricks don't look like they've been hauled in from some quarry. They're just kind of scattered about the place, like they took that top layer down and are going to put it back up. And that's their construction.
What you always see. And you never see them from the footings up either. It's just always like, they're, revamping every time.
And then there's endless little spires and, energy devices on the buildings in the background. If you look, I think the next photograph. I have no clue because the guy that was there, look, there's some writing there, whatever that is, Hospicio Cabanas. I don't know. That's where all this is, this same little area around that circular weird building with those spires around it. The guy that owns the restaurant didn't know either. He said those were photographs his father had for years and he liked them, so he put them up in the restaurant. So we don't really know where they came from.
Can Mag that up? Can you see what that box is on the lamppost?
I do. Yep. 1920, no less.
Oh, it's all right. They had electric by then. Could have been for trams. Oh, fine. I think so. 1920, yeah. Oh, actually, it looks like a flag. Now I'm looking, and it looks something the other side, doesn't it?
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Yeah, that's proper rotunda, that is. Yeah, there's something definitely going on with rotundas because they all got these colonnades all the way around, and colonnades vibrate, don't they? They oscillate and they create a frequency too. You know, I sometimes imagine these things spinning for some reason. It's really strange, but and they always got Antiquitech on top. It's just a
Yep.
strange thing and similar design for everyone. Can't be more. Not aesthetics. It looks a bit like a crown, granted. No, more
Hmm.
going on.
When
Any
I
more?
was visiting Walt, we drove by the church in town, and there were electric wires running up to the top of both spires.
Hmm.
Right,
And then
where the
it wasn't like a grounding; it came down, and then it broke off into 3 different wires. So it wasn't just your normal grounding wire where they, just run a wire down to the ground and so the lightning doesn't hurt the building. This one came down, and there was one on each of the towers, and it came down and then it split into 3 wires.
The tops of those buildings there seem similar to that church that I took pictures of there in Abbeville that had that weird metal tall spire that's not like any other church in this area. And right across the street, connected to the church by huge cables and transformers, was the Abbeville power plant.
Well, I'm
That's big,
assuming
yeah.
that's not the sun in the picture, is it? It's
No,
reflection.
that's the reflection of the lights above, right? Yeah, It was
Gotcha.
really a bad situation. The pictures were above me about 1.5 or 2 feet, so for even get an angle that could be seen, I was lucky. So,
Okay.
I
So what
always
did
do
you have
that.
to eat?
and just perfect timing for this to be there for Martin to come check it out. I had conchitas, it's the banana leaf pork, like kind of got a
Get me hungry now.
sweetness to it, almost like jerk Jamaican type sweetness.
Nice.
Really good, really good.
God knows what's happening with that. A little bit of Greco-Roman architecture. I read in a book tonight, funnily enough, that it stated another historical narrative that the original Egypt of the pharaohs was actually in America, and they give you all of these original place names like Phoenix, and they basically said the Memphis, like in Tennessee, Memphis is actually, they were saying this is the original Memphis, and the other Memphis is the replacement Memphis. You know.
Well, that's where the king went, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And that's ready for the king. No mistake there. And in Graceland, think about it. Loads of clues. Loads of clues. So
Absolutely.
again, you know, there's loads of reasons to think the biblical events that happened in, you know, America's a huge continent and its history is a complete lie. You know, they just, so, you know, that is the new world we just discovered. It's just insane thinking that is the old world. And this was the new world. That place was there first, you know, and it's just how, you know, what the evidence is just there. It's not even difficult to see. You just do the history on any of your buildings and you'll find that they're all a lot older. And it's, you know, the country's supposed to be 400, 500 years, you know, since all this stuff has happened. But loads of evidence in Chronica and other books that these events are supposed to have happened, you know, in America. You can even find Ararat. You know, look for any of these biblical names and you will find them in America. Ararat is a mountain in the state of Pennsylvania, apparently, and there's other, you know, nearly all of the things in the Bible are place names in America. Were they there first, or did they just make them later? There seems to be an older civilization there. You can see it on Google anyway. A lot of us have posted. You got a grid system, like of glyphs, of petroglyphs in the whole of America. That there's just, they rip across the Corn Belt, where there's just no development of an old perfect grid system. And in Asia too, across Siberia, you see these things thousands of miles long, thousands of miles, perfectly straight lines, parallel, thousands of miles.
Interesting you said that. One of the photos that was too high for me to get a clear picture of it was like an empty countryside that looked like somewhere in Mexico with cactus and really sparse vegetation. And just going across into the distance was like this arched thing that looked like a bridge in the middle of the desert with no water anywhere around. And that was one I really wanted to get a picture of, but it would not happen. I couldn't get anything but glares on it because it made no sense for it to be in the middle of this desert area and for them to have photographed it so like importantly in this. It was just really, really weird, really, really weird. I wish I knew the history of those photos there. The guy just didn't know enough about them.
I think it's a concerted effort to destroy a lot of these things anyway, from what I can make out. Any evidence of the old world, America, has just been destroyed, leveled. The old pyramids, so many of them, a lot of them are just incorporated or just destroyed. They're not just in Mexico, are they? They're everywhere. So yeah, this old world is there. You can see it, and it's not long ago either. No.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's out in some of these deserts. Arizona, Nevada, Utah, a lot of these places, the military has made them.
Yeah, well, John Levy was posted last week. He was out in the middle. He lives out in the desert, right, Zach? And he's out in the middle of nowhere. He looks around and there is no development. Nothing's ever happened. And he just finds a red brick in the ground. What's this doing? And there was other bits as well, like that there'd been something there in the past, not like a mining development on, I think, just in the middle of nowhere, really. So, yeah, you can just find like evidence of the previous world out there. You look, I reckon. Especially
I remember I always used to find stuff like that when I was younger, like a child, playing on the train tracks and finding this and finding that and playing out in the woods and finding stuff and thinking, oh, this is just something that somebody put here, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, or many things like that you find out in the woods when you're playing.
Zach,
now I would have really looked at it,
We found something when I was a kid. We went sort of like treasure hunting, if you like, in where there was supposed to be Roman stuff. And we seen what looked like a sword sticking up out of the ground, black bit of metal. So my mate Nobby, who was really, really strong, pulls this, and it's just, it comes out, and he's got a big, long bit of metal, all rusted, that looks like a sword, right? I'm like, holy hell, this is a Roman sword, guys. Do you know what this means? And with that, he swung it around for whatever reason and accidentally smacked me straight in the side of the head with the Roman sword, which turns out, I had a massive egg come up on my head like that. Yeah. So sorry, Martin. Anyway, it turns out that it was a rusty bit of railings. Wasn't a Roman sword, unfortunately, but I don't even know what happened. He just swung it around I think he was going to try and whack the rust off it on a pole. And I was just standing there, and he just went like that and just smacked me straight in the head with the Roman sword, which was, railing. So
yeah, I remember finding red brick stuff.
And me. All over.
Where I was living in northern Indiana, there out in the country, all the farm fields, the big farmer fields where they have like 100 acres plus, there'll be a big giant field, but in the center of it will be all wooded. And they say this is where the old farmhouse used to be, this and that, yada, yada, yada. But when you go in there and you look at some of it's all red brick, and it's all just beautifully crafted, weird looking stuff and cement walls that are all, it's weird. They're like solid cement walls that are real long, and it doesn't look like there's any cuts or cracks. And these buildings are supposed to be built in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't understand or hasn't followed along with the mud flood thing, the hidden history, etc., give us a lowdown on what your hypothesis or what the general accepted hypothesis is, if there is such a thing. I doubt it. For this red brick stuff. And I mean, what is it? They had a perfect civilization and then it was wiped out by something. Give us the lowdown on that, because I'm still a bit fuzzy about it.
Yeah, I think you probably hit it on the nail there. Taria, okay, it's thought to have been a civilization not too long ago, which was nothing like this. It was based on more holistic approach to nature. They worked with nature and the technologies, natural technologies of nature, and inner technologies of people.
And this isn't pie in the sky. This Tartaria is in some of the history books, isn't it? And on some of the maps.
I have a very, very vast library and collection about Tartaria. Okay, I know so much about it by now.
And for anyone listening, you know, how many times did anyone hear about Tartaria in school? You know, or you know what? No one did, as far as I can. Well,
I knew the word Tartar, you know, but I didn't, you know, if I thought of the Tartars, you know, I knew about the Tartars, but I just thought of them as, you know, like a barbarian tribe from Asia. So I knew them in school, Tartars, but that was it, nothing else.
You probably paid a lot more attention to history than I did.
I did go history lessons.
But yeah, carrying on. It's what's the general sort of gist of where
so
people
they
are?
were the greatest civilization we know of. Okay, so what we think this place is subject to resets. Okay, what we find is you can't find too much about the past. We seem to be locked in very narrow windows of time, and when we look out of these windows, all we see is catastrophe and destruction. It would seem that this place is reset on average every 400 years or so through either flood, fire, and other circumstances which get rid of a lot of the population, if not all. Then it would seem that new arrivals arrive from somewhere, repopulate the place, and then they have a new history because they wrote it and they give you, you know, this is what happened before narrative, and nobody will know any better. The real history is completely different. Tartaria had technology in buildings called technasmia. You can witness it in some of its old churches, they call churches, which are devices. And red brick is, I suppose, the chosen brick, which you'll see all over Tartaria. And I've got proof, and I posted about it, that Tartaria is built over the Bering Straits into Alaska, down the westboard of America into places like Portland, because that's a beautiful Tartarian city, and all the way through America. So the Tartaria was in America also. How long the civilization existed is hard to say. So there were evil traders, a mystery to humanity, and they still are to this day, called the Phoenicians. They come into port, they offer wares, okay? They became very, very envious of this beautiful, beautiful civilization in a golden era, the Gilded Age, where everybody was happy and there was technologies harnessed for everybody's benefit. So they brought in stuff into port, stuff like, I guess, alcohol and things that were not good for humanity, and certain foods. Now, we think that Tartaria may not have even needed a language. Maybe they were psychic. They were that highly, you know, advanced in consciousness. Or maybe they didn't eat either. There's reason to think that they may have been breatharians, because what we're finding in most of the massive Tartarian buildings, even the Palace of Versailles of Louis XVI, they don't feel the need to put any toilets in for some reason, which is anomalous.
That's quite a big deal, really, isn't it?
Pretty big, you know, John. Some of these places have 1,000 rooms and with one toilet. All of these big Victorian buildings you see in Britain or America, okay, they're still there today. In my childhood, their gardens, at the end of their gardens, would be a kazi, a toilet, yeah, which would be a little wooden shack. Now think about it, big bath stone, beautifully crafted, with technology in them, buildings, yet you've got to go to the end of your back garden, some crap in a little wooden cabin. Makes no sense. There's obviously something going on, you know, and I followed all the, you know, the narrative of toilets with Thomas Crapper bringing crap.
And what year do you think this was? How long ago? Sorry.
Well, I'll get into that. Okay. So I sort of go with the chronology of, I don't look beyond 1,000 years ago. So I posted tonight proof that actually the Normans were actually the Normans. They were the Northmen. So they were sort of Vikings crossed with the Danes, and the Normans' conquest was also a psyop, and they were Phoenicians later. So anyway, leading up to the Renaissance period of around 1500s, okay, they got a foothold in all of Tartaria, okay? And at some period, there was a reset, a full reset. And a lot of America, if not all, was underwater. Italy, Europe, all underwater. Volcanoes, the works. Some sort of giant cataclysm. Now, I think they switched the calendar off. I think they switched the calendar off for maybe 200 years. Who would even know? And then switch it back on. If they can do it now with humanity, and in a generation or so's time, nobody will know anything of this, they definitely could have pulled that off. Because it was too apocalyptic. This place was Mad Max. And what proof have I got for that? Well, I've been showing a set of very highly prized lead atlases that some of the greatest academics in America have, like, you know, would give all of their lives to, you know, studying these maps by an artist called Pierre van der Haan and his brother Lied, who showed these atlases of the real history. And they're nothing like the history they taught in the history books. They are apocalyptic. The whole world is in flux. And it seems at this period, most of humanity is chowing down on one another because there's no food. So there's other documents of the same periods that I put forward, like the voyages of John Struve, Dutchman of the East India Company. He tells exactly the same tale, that this place is wrecked. The whole world is wrecked. There's been an event. This is the later, you know, the post-event, and they're putting the world back together. So it seemed that the Tartaria was taken out, and this is leading up to the periods through the 1700s when it's all switched back on. The Phoenicians are full in control, and they bring in the heliocentric thinking. This is all of them, all since this period. This is all of them. Okay, the Jesuits and the Vatican and the Phoenicians. How do we know? Because they're all in the same Babylonian death cult, and they all worship exactly the same deity. How do we know? Because it's all over their statues and their shit, all over the Vatican. We know, all right, who it is. So they have cannibalistic, they are evil, they bleed on human energy like vampires, and they have to keep everyone at a negative frequency so that they can exist. And that's how they exist. It's like on that level. So these Phoenicians are evil, and they're now ruling the place, and they bring in a paradigm of heaven and hell and death and everything else, which is a Phoenician construct, and none of it is fucking true. I can assure you of that. What is that they're taking us all away from?
Where do they fit into in terms of, say, the Jesuits or something?
Well, the Jesuits, you know, this
Or the Catholic Church, or
Loyola, I don't know. I've researched him. I don't even know if I even trust that anymore. But you know, he's supposed to be a Basque. He sets up the Jesuits, but this is, you know, way after the Phoenician conquering, if you like. You know, Victoria and these later monarchs under the Phoenicians, they they brag. You know, victory, Victoria. The name is Victory. Victoria over Tartaria. You know, they like to tell you as well. They were mocking up the last of the Tartaria and around coming up to 1811 events, which was another apocalyptic event, which many, many people died. And they cover that with famines and disease to, you know, explain to, you know, if anyone actually researches this subject, to explain where everybody's gone. And then a little while later, all of the cities, just after all them events of 1811, and you pick up on the early photography, which starts apparently 1840s, you find all the cities are, you know, empty of people. There's hardly anyone around. What looks like skeleton crews with loads of ladders, like Westworld, like they're getting ready for the next stage set. And this is not just one city, this is choose your city everywhere in the world. And then they introduce the Great Expositions, which are massive complexes, but we think they're already there. And then the arrival of the people. They come in vast numbers, millions, after they come in the form of children. Okay, so they come in endless trains and endless ships of tens of thousands of maybe Arcadian or whatever children. But the question is where are all their parents? Even if they had any in the first place. Something really sinister is going on. These children are in turn put into these massive Qatarian asylums, orphanage asylums, like where mentally ill people go. And they're up into these, and one school classrooms, they're segregated boys and girls, they're in one room classrooms, so pretty much like isolation day, I guess, and they're brainwashed. And it's all the same Phoenician paradigm, which is not far away from, like, in World War II, the Nazis had their own art and their own literature. It's very much the same for everybody in this place. They have the Phoenician art, classical literature, and the classical education, if you want to them.
And they're so-called asylums, aren't they? I mean, they tell us that they were asylums, and apparently these countries, of very sparse population had huge populations of mad people.
You don't even go there. Look at, like, New Zealand was so scattered population at like 1880s, yet they are these huge, massive Italian buildings that have just turned up. But apparently it's just, and like you said, in places without these, massive populations have got these huge, all looking exactly the same, all ridiculously big, insanely big buildings,
Yeah, I mean, stone buildings, and they've
all
got
red brick.
red bricks, and
But when
I
you're
mean,
in a
they're
city,
stunning buildings, aren't they? They're not your average sort of, I don't know what what we'd put up today.
so we're in the last throes of this takeover, and they're closing curtains up now because they reset, and this is what I would say is artificial. I think this, what happens in this place is, it's structure. I think all of it is at this stage artificial. I really, really do. As in, not as opposed to nature, but this place is a creation. It's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think any flat earther will disagree with you on that front, as in
Sorry.
this was created. Tell me more about the children, because weren't there orphan trains and stuff that they were
And ships.
orphan ships and things like this? What the hell was all that about?
Well,
And
the
how
royal.
do they talk about that in mainstream history?
No, they don't. No, they won't, because it's horrendous. Some of the figures we picked up and some of the treatment of these people is just beyond a joke. It was just like a living hell. I've read some of the letters of some of these people that were in these workhouses and stuff, and it's just the worst life you can imagine. So this was subject, like, we'll just go say for Australia then, okay? Repopulating Australia. So they take, like, ships full of children on a ship called the Royal Tam, like as in Tataria, and they ship them out and they give them to whoever wants a child. Now, in the modern day, on my radio, nearly every day, if I'm working on my van, I'll put the radio on, my little ham radio, and it will play Nation Radio, and they're putting adverts out saying, now, if anyone would like a child of their own, okay, give us a ring, because apparently there's loads of children that foster parents can now have because their parents are where? Oh, what's happened? And they're advertising this every day on the radio. So that's really sinister. And that harks back to the orphan children to me. In my mind, these kids are crying out for, like, justice for what's happened. All of them are, yeah. And they're just not, it's never been recognised,
And we're seeing that today, though, aren't we? I mean, you must get it with your free, your local county council puts out a free newspaper every month or whatever, and 4 pages out of 20 or whatever are dedicated to become a foster parent, we have kids queuing up, we have the kids ready and waiting. You can get £400 a week for bringing in a single foster care child or whatever. And like you say, where the hell are all the parents? And I think what's happening is they're just taking them off the parents.
Well, lots of people, there's loads of suggestions out there. They're saying, there's some people saying, well, they come from underground in underground tunnels. When they arrive, they look like they're just mesmerized, like they've just arrived in this, like on another world. Their eyes have just gone in these photographs. And some people have said that they could be just breeding. Like, maybe when I said they never had any parents, like literally, they just breeding program, they're hundreds of years advanced ahead of us. Thousands. Who even knows what we're in and how advanced they are? Exactly. We don't even know, guys. You know, these
Yeah.
Phoenicians, you know, this place is a construct of them, and they are certainly letting us know. I can assure you this is true, guys. Okay. And what's gone on in the past, you know, with when we did have, you know, what happened here, guys, is this place is beautiful, okay, and it's got pure potential. Humans know we can get it right, and we know how to do it too. But they won't fucking let us. They got us on lockdown in every way, with bombardments on our senses. Everything's got to be down vibration. Everything's got to be negative. Nothing for you to look forward to except the grave is what they want you to live by.
And we're our own worst enemy as well, aren't we? Because there
Self-fulfilling
are people that will defend this.
Yeah, because of them. Because it's we're self-fulfilling prophecies because of the construct of what they're telling us, and none of it is true. None of it is true. Yeah, it's all a reversal. Yeah,
And the programming they've given us from birth in the newspapers, in films, I mean, everything. There isn't, what is that? They say that there's literally four different storylines that will cover every single film you've ever seen in your life. And I can believe that. And
I can believe that.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I went on to that, but
So yeah, they use advanced technologies that do exist. There are weapons of mass destruction, but I can show you they're non-nuclear. But electromagnetic technology ramped up is certainly a thing, or energy weapons, certainly a thing. Oscillating weapons, as in weapons that can make an earthquake, drum weapons, they're a thing. And there's so many things that are a thing that they can utilize on a bigger scale that can wreck this place. You know, I prostrate the comets are a part of their technology. We're flat earthers, okay? So we know this. I'm a domer, 100%. I think there's water over the skies, and I really, really do. So comets are in here with us, and whatever they are, okay, they travel over us horizontally. How do I know? Because when you look up and you see a comet, they sort of like are arching like that, aren't they? So well, that's a perspective thing. So it's 100% going flat. This place is flat. So that makes perfect sense. So to me, they're shot perpendicularly from outwardly from other lands. And when they enter the atmosphere, they cause first agitation of EM. Okay. Symptoms, radiation poisoning, illness, plague. How do I know? Because me and Lee, who's flat earth British, Lee spent more hours than me. We went through all the documentation we could find, and we made a tally of all the comets in history that they tell us about and tried to make some sense of it. And it was overwhelming. It blew us both out of the water. We were both in shock. We said, this is scary. It's like, I know. So I started to collect books from antiquity on comets and their statements about what happens. And it's disease, wars, famine, people going nuts, even dancing sickness, and all sorts of things associated with comets. But finally, some of them touch the Earth. Some of them get really close and act out, causing massive plasma discharge events. So how do I know that they might be in the scenario? It's because, again, the Phoenicians tell us in all of their alchemical depictions, everything is about the crucible, the orb, or the comet. Because they're not icy balls from out in space, and nothing is orbiting anything, so it's not that. They're not icy balls from out in space because there's no space, water, there's something else going on. And they come in horizontally, perpendicularly. They come in.
I'm glad you mentioned about other lands. I was going to ask whether you were an other lander.
Sure. Why wouldn't I be? God almighty.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it makes... Does that to you mean that the dome covers these other lands, or it's a separate dome, or...
At this stage, I'm not even sure if it's even rendered, if we're not even there. At this stage, I don't even know if a street away is even rendered because I'm not even... Okay?
But it's hard to say, isn't it?
All right. What I would say is I do think the maps show us lands in the north. I think there is lands there, but not as you... I think you've got to be a certain frequency to be able to perceive them, if that even makes any sense. Okay, I think there's places that is on a higher plateau, if you like. Antarctica, no, that's not a thing, but there appears to be lands mapped. And Do any of you remember the Kabawashi map? Do you remember that? Any of you?
Is
Of
that
course,
the
yes.
1,000-year-old map that showed numerous continents beyond ours?
Does anyone know who found that?
Turned up in Hawaii or something. It was Indian.
No, it was in a newspaper.
Yeah, in
Kobayashi.
a Hawaiian newspaper or something.
Somebody named Kobayashi, I think, right?
Yeah, there are loads of clues in that though with Kabawashi map because basically that's a character in Star Trek as well, and there's a bit of a
Yeah.
clue because it's connected with Picard, and Picard's seen the dumb. You know, I picked up a trail on that with that.
That is.
Yeah, it was one of the best things ever. That was, but yeah, very tempting. But when you study and look at it, to me, it looks like, oh, hang on a minute, that's just mining operation spoil. Is that what they're doing? Is it like just what they're doing with Dubai, making like pantry lands and the world map in sand? Because you know, it's really big. No, really, honestly, you can see.
Yeah,
like,
and flogging them to footballers. Yeah.
yeah, and they're cutting big parts of the land away. And some of these cliff faces really does look like it's had a bit of machinery on them. We don't know how big this machinery is, giants, you know. Like a mining operation, this whole thing. There's a big question with why the seas are salty. You know, guys, we haven't really hit upon that yet, and the fresh water is fresh. You know, loads of ideas. If this was a mining operation, and these diggers, would they, you know, maybe dug in and disturbed some of the minerals that were in the earth, and could they have reached out and made the water salty? You know, this, or is the salt water needed for part of this electromagnetic construct? Because
Well, it makes up a battery, doesn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Or at
Yes.
least it's the constituent part of a battery for sure,
Exactly.
which can't be overlooked.
There
I
has
think
to be that.
yeah, it has to. It's very, very practical. The salt water is very practical, and even the different saltinesses of the oceans, I think, have something to do with practicality and
Sure.
reality. And if you want to step over like into reality and that too on it, I know when looking at the magnetic, looking at magnetic maps
Mm.
and where things are, there is definitely, in order to complete the pattern, when you extrapolate it out to an somewhat of an AE projection on that, in order to complete the magnetic pattern, you would need a massive land that's off. It would be between South America and Africa,
Hmm.
off of what our latitude longitude lines would show on it, but it would be the pattern ends abruptly without completing, and you can just kind of look at it, fill in the lines, and know exactly where there would be
That's really
needed a
cool.
big piece of land. I think Antarctica, instead of being a ring around it, Martin, throw in there and then throw it back. But I think it might be. I see it as there's two poles where magnetically on the outer edge is one of them is right below Australia, and there's another one that would be between South America and that.
Uh-huh.
But there's also the magnetic pattern creates four corners along with it, so you get like an elongated pentagon, or not pentagon, but hexagon. I'm sorry, an elongated hexagon. But it actually the
Absolutely.
magnetic pattern creates four corners and two tips on it, which I think might be the four corners of the world. But there would need to be to hold the pattern in that you would have land at each one of the four corners and the 2 points, and I think the wall kind of with temperature ices up between them, but there is a need for lands along the ridge just to continue the pattern. Just just a whole different way of looking at things.
Now, Martin, would I be right in saying that what Cami just said means nothing to someone who thinks we live in a simulation?
No,
Because it's
no,
all-
I practiced trying Cami's idea with trying to find stuff with magnetic deviation, and I tried it with the North Pole. And what I did, and I talked about it on the series Greatest Secret Never Told, is Mercator's map of the North Pole shows four continents. Yeah, we've all seen this, haven't we?
Mhm.
And a Mount Meru in the middle.
Mhm.
But what we found then was an image of a science magazine of what they thought the electromagnetics looked like over the North Pole in their official bullshit. What you find was four big loops like this, which overlaid looked like Mercator's four continents. We thought, oh, hang on a minute. And this is like a giant magnetic deviation off of a central point. And that's even in their official narrative. And we're thinking it's Mount Meru. Yeah. So I did that because that was definitely onto something with finding out this place was through the Candy's mode method, no doubt about it. So yeah, completely understand it, and I'm open, John. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it. I'm saying the theory of simulation explains everything. Okay, it explains the Mandela effect, the changes, the spiritual awakening, the mud flood, Tartaria. Or, when did you ever hear about Tartaria in your childhood? And where's all these buildings just showed up half buried in the mud and never really noticed them before? It's like the whole world just woke up. What are the flat earth? Yeah?
That's it. I mean, the simulation can literally, it could explain Narnia, couldn't it? Above Iceland or something.
I put things into spiritual terms, John. I'm just using it as an example, to try and explain the experience in this place. I want to know what consciousness is. We still don't know what we're doing yet. We don't know what we are, who we are, when we are, or where we are at this period in time. We know we're in like dark times. We have controllers that are really freaking evil, and there's a giant bunch of good people that are just doing amazing things and just going to make a beautiful day.
Are you optimistic for the future or
Sure.
not?
No, I'm optimistic. I'm eternally optimistic. Look,
Based on what?
John, look, if you go, I could show you the vlog where I say over a year ago, okay, I'll tell you what they're going to pull. This is what I say in the blog. I'll tell you what they're going to pull. They're going to pull pandemic on our ass. That's what I say in the blog a year ago. And the comments got trashed because people saying, no, germ theories. I was saying in my comments, I was saying, no, you don't understand. You don't need virus. You just need to scare of it. I understood it a year ago. I've been talking about reset for over 3 years now, John. Yeah, and I sort of had the knowledge that they killed billions of people before us, trillions, over and over again. The cultures, you can see at least 4 or 5 previous to us, but the Roman, Greco-Roman culture, which is very much still there. So that wasn't long ago. That was in this last 1,000 years. Okay,
that's what I mean. How do you remain positive, knowing all this?
Because it's our reality. If you focus on negativity, then you're giving them the energy, and I won't give them that. I like to get on the ropes and give them a good couple of days daily and get on their nerves. Because I'm not going to be their bitch, and I'm not going to be anything to do with their paradigm. We're all good people. We do not need them. Okay. How do I survive? How do I survive? I haven't got a clue. It's just me, John. I just know I am, innit?
But it's not dwelling on their fear, isn't it? It's not letting their fear in. It's creating our own future.
John, I've been destroyed by them. Okay. And I realized in the past as well, but like most of Britain is destroyed by your bully boss on your bus in the morning, going to work, thinking this is the worst life in the world, stinking cold because they got your vibration down. You've now got ill.
Yeah.
You've got to work. You've got this horrible stinking boss every day. You can't pack the job in, because if you pack the job in, you can't, pay the rent, and you and your wife and your kids are going to be on the street. So you've got to keep going and suffering. So most people are stuck in that. So I've been in that. And I've been leaving all of the bullshit on the television and the news when I went home, at night. Okay, I did choose my newspapers, but I still thought it might be a reality and wasn't even thinking in that mode. And most people weren't. Okay, that's the truth before the truth hit.
Yeah.
So I was completely in the paradigm, mate. Completely in it, really. I was like, I never believed in evolution. I've always had a critical mind towards science and everything else. But I mean, I'm just the same Brit as you are, John. We grew up exactly the same way, mate. So we both the same way, yeah? All programming,
So how did you rise above it and develop an optimistic output instead of a horrendous pessimistic output?
First, I had my worst fears in this life happened for a start off. So there was nothing beyond that. I had to face worst tragedy you could imagine. So that's all my family go in months each. So after that, I can't even explain what that was like. So after that, I was like, well, okay, what can they do now? I'm not really that concerned about, my avatar, if you like. So after all of that happened, it just gave me like attitude, that I'm not really that bothered about, then.
Sort of bringing on
Bring
attitude.
it on. I'm up
But
for it anyway.
if there's a reset thing, I mean, coming and they can do
Go on.
floods and
Go on. Have a think about what they're doing. The kids are going to go back to school and they're going to be tortured and be in their schools, literally tortured, mentally tortured in their schools, properly tortured. That's the new reality. We're in a really evil Marxist dictatorship.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And when they start fucking with the kids, I mean, that's
Torturing them. They're going to get in their heads, Walt.
yeah, it's
You know, you can't keep them apart for a start off. That's just freaking cruel. And they need their friends. We all need to have friends in this life. They can't be doing that. Awful cruel, that is. Heartbreaking. And, you know, social distancing them and just all of it. The whole thing, what they're doing to everybody is just disgusting. I can't believe people put up with it.
I mean, I heard today that barbers or hairdressers or whatever are allowed to open, but they're not allowed to small talk.
What?
It's in there, yeah, apparently, in their guidelines. You're not allowed to, you know, mention where they've been on holiday because obviously no one's been on holiday anymore.
Look, John, when I did go into my barber's, I used to sit in the chair and he'd say, "What you want?" I'd say, "A quiet haircut."
Yeah, I can't stand that small talk crap. It works in my favour perfectly, you know, and I hate to say it, you know, I'm the best apocalypse ever, but yeah, I'm quite positive about this whole thing because I don't know. I think too many people have seen the other side, even if it's been facilitated by being forced to stay at home and watching, you know, dumb flat Earth videos or something. You know, people are opening up to this, to questioning everything because they can see right in front of their face. They're being told to wear a mask, and then on one hand, and being told by the same people that wearing a mask is absolutely pointless in the same sentence. And, you know, some people, luckily, are enough awake to realize the complete contradiction that they've just been told. Yeah, and
is it possible, John and Martin, that is, I mean, it's kind of like what James says with the idea that these are the clues, and if the people who get it, it's not about us waking up everybody as much as we are heroes in our hearts and want to do that and empathetic and all that. It's about us waking ourselves up to these clues and getting ready for whatever it is.
Well, I think
the ones who aren't ready are just the cold. They are the ones who won't be ready.
I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's what's happening. People have got to get spiritually prepared now. This is the time. The last waltz. There's no other chances. It's not like you sit back, wait for it to happen later on. So yeah, I would say this is definitely at the time, and everyone seems to know it as well. You said a question. You really knew the answer deep down, Waltz, and it's just that is what's happening.
I maintain. Well, I'm from my pessimistic, optimistic outlook.
Listen, there's a singularity coming. It could be wheat from the chaff. Click of a finger, all the evil bastards in this place have done anything bad could just disappear. Who determined it? The eye, the all-seeing eye, the watchers, or what have you. This could be the time now, these months when we're stuck in, see everybody plays out.
Well, I think we're in a filtering period, but whether they're filtering out the sheeple, the non-player characters, and they're going to get rid of them, like you're saying, Walt, or whether they're filtering out us, who are the intellectual sort of academics that are looking at this with a logical head and not getting emotionally involved in it. Who knows? But there definitely seems to be, we seem to be in a filtering process. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. You know.
It is, but it's a selection process, and I just know it is. You know, when I talked to you the other day, John, my friend of mine had a letter through the door, basically saying in Latin, basically saying you've got to be tested for COVID, you're dead. So you know, you're dying. They're saying. So they're telling everybody they're dying. You know what is going on exactly? They're gaslighting everyone clearly. But I think that there's a point to this. I think there's a convergence point where everything will just come to the one moment in time when everything's just going to make sense. That's what I feel. I feel
No, a sort of event horizon, whatever you want to call it.
singularity or whatever you want to call it, when everything is going to make sense to everybody and all of the angst and all the worries will all be superfluous, won't even matter anymore.
I don't know about other people, but have other people on the panel felt this approaching? I mean, it's probably been a decade for me to realise something is coming down the line.
Absolutely.
It's almost
bigger than 9/11. We were saying last year, whatever it is coming, it'll be in 2020 and it'd be bigger than 9/11. Everyone was saying it, guys. Everyone in the truth community. We knew it. 2020 vision.
Well, I think in the bigger picture, all of this, or at least, in my view, and I think you kind of echo it, Martin, we chose this. We chose to be here at this time. However many times you've been here, if this is your 30th go around, 3000th go around, whatever, there's a reason we chose to be here during this time. And, not just for the show and to eat some popcorn. I mean, there's reasons for this. Either, I don't know. I think it's bigger than just
exactly
the culling. I think it's really getting ready for the next something, whatever the next something is. I don't even think we can conceive of it. But we're here for a reason, not just to do shows and, meet great people, but I've always known there was purpose, and I've always known this was coming. So it just seems like I'm not ready in spite of all that, damn it.
Yeah, it was quite upsetting in the beginning, I suppose, the terrifying truth. But it's actually comforting. It is comforting. It makes you realize that everything they told us was complete bullshit. And my version of reality, or my interpretation of reality is as valid as any quantum physicist or any academic or anybody out there. My version or your version or anybody's version is as valid because no one knows anything.
It's probably more valid because, I mean, the overeducated they're over everything. They're overconfident. They're over egotistical. They're just and as such, they are trapped in a box that they literally cannot even step a foot out of because it shatters their entire paradigm that they base their intelligence and superiority on.
I've dealt with it for the last 3 months in Oregon, unfortunately.
Unlearning is the answer.
Yeah, exactly. Unlearn. That's beautiful.
And don't draw any opposition to anything.
And don't draw attention to yourself either.
Not draw any opposition to anything. So as soon as your mind draws an opposition, just retrieve it and don't let it happen. Because if everything in the world, everybody in the world stopped drawing opposition on anything, because everything is in opposition in this place. I mean everything, the whole paradigm. Everything would be healed and everything would be just super fantastic for everybody if they just stopped. Because the Phoenician paradigm determines that. There's more than that with the Phoenician paradigm, even movement. Now, our souls are still, but the world moves. It's in constant movement around us. You got the wind, you can stand there in the wind, it feels like the wind's moving, and and the motion of this place, of nature, of this place we're in now. Our souls are still. And they are not traveling in the Phoenician paradigm. There's some songs, keep on moving, don't stop. Now, is that really the case? Should we be moving? And there's, this is another Phoenician, decode, if you like. There's many of them, and they go really deep into, different rabbit holes that your brain never even knew that was there, if that makes any sense. And once you go down there, it's like, oh boy, there's so many of them. I'm down maybe a dozen rabbit holes of all like just mind-blowing subjects. Hard to even imagine. So, yeah, what an incredible ride. Wow.
Isn't it just? Yeah.
Mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. I'm mind-blown every single day, guys. I have been today as well. Every day. Something happens. that I've never seen, never heard of before, that is to the eye, wah, to the mind, wah. Mind blow, mind
It
blow.
is hard to keep up, isn't it? It is seriously hard to keep up.
I had to keep that for myself. I don't know.
Mm.
It's like there's loads of me. You know, I do so many different things. I got so many projects ongoing, but I don't dwell on it. What I usually do is bite off more than I can chew, and then just miracles happen, and it all just sorts itself out weirdly. So I don't focus on it or worry about it not happening. Does that make sense, guys? You know, I don't think,
Yeah.
oh, that's just not going to work out, you know, because I'm busy doing this or something. I think to myself, yeah, that's not going to work out.
So, do you bother trying to think what's coming next or where this is turning out? I mean, I'm along the same lines as you. As I'm sort of taking a back step and thinking,
my strategy,
this is going to happen. This is going to work out.
Yeah, I think there's something coming, and we will know all about it by November, and that's what I think. Okay, ahead of whatever happens in December, and the winter.
Why November or December?
Well,
Isn't no? Okay, right.
They told everyone the second wave's coming, which is their second, you know, plan for us. You know, they programmed everyone, so I think it's safe to assume that this is going to go down. They're giving us a little tiny bit of freedom, and that'll be it, I should imagine, for a while. So my strategy is like the art of war, is leg it, learn, know thine enemy, and work out a strategy. So that's what I've been doing, basically. We're trying to set up a breakaway civilization. I intend on taking a load of people, families, to safety, away from their paradigm, so they're not going to jam them up with poisons and inject them, and the poison foods and everything else they got in mind for these poor children in the future. So we've got to save humanity, because if they get every single child and they tag them, then there will be no free children anymore in this place, and it will be exactly like a horror film. You know,
I know 2 kids they're not going to get, but when you say drag them away, you don't mean physically, you mean...
But if they make it mandatory because they're saying it's a danger to other people, you don't know how this is going to go, do you? You know, they could just bring in insane stuff. So just imagine that most children have been vaccinated and maybe chipped in the future.
But Trump's already said he's got the military ready to give the vaccine. I mean, he said those words. There's no guessing about it.
You know, there's going to be in the future the need to save humanity. There's going to be a need to run away for some. I was just thinking going partisan setup, and like, you know, basically the idea is set up free energy, show the world how it's done, aquatech, okay, you know, magnetizing, vortexing water, show them how it's done, all of these technologies, use them, possibly build beaver dam technology acts, just in case, be clever. Just like Noah. And then the whole world will look in envy, and then they will want to copy, and then they will try to do this the same, because they will see and they will know how fantastic it is, and then everybody will try to do it, and then that will be a tipping point where everybody will just want to live back in what we call sort of Italian ideals of not their medication, nothing pharmaceutical. The nature will supply all of that. It will be there, you know. In the case of emergencies and stuff, for life-saving things, not like nutty Jehovah's Witnesses, but you know, sort of be realistic and keep away from their stuff. And all of this will be public, done on the internet, setting up and all of that, so they don't think like, you know, go Waco or anything, because that's what we've been accused of as well. So like everywhere will be connected to one another. So that if the ones in America want to go and like, you know, like a student exchange holiday thing, come and hang out and, you know, work at ours, you know, to stay, exactly. And we'll do vice versa. So everyone gets to travel around, see the other communities, it's a good way of everyone just being like one big family. And it's all just going to be flat earthers anyway. So, you know, that type of people. So it's going to be cool anyway.
But like you mentioned Waco, I mean, if you have a physical location, then surely, I mean, these guys have still got the guns, haven't they? I mean, here in the UK, anyway.
I have even, you know, had the thing in my head thinking about them turning up. Yeah. So the way my mind's run it is, right, crank up on the internet, get like many people watching these motherfuckers. They will try to shut it down, and I even in my mind set up a backup for my broadband so they could keep, because they would try and cut the broadband, you see, so I couldn't stream. Yeah, I've seen.
That's where shortwave radio comes in, mate.
Ba-ba. Well, I had it all in my head planned out, like, so if this scenario, because I have thought about it, guys, and they would sort of think, oh, like, they're getting off grids, this isn't good, are they culty, are they collecting arms, stuff like that they might contemplate. But in this case, it won't be able to be that, because it's going to be me and other people, like John Levy and others who are in on this. I've got land quite a few places now. We're building earthships on a large bit of land in Portugal on the Silver Coast. If they don't inject my ass, I'm going to fly down there in August and have a look at it. Is what I'm going to do with this, and I'm going to check this community out.
Right, so hold on. You've got physical land.
What?
Tell us more about
I've
that.
got 120 acres of Queensland. There's families on the way there to go and live in the barrier. I still haven't got the barrier HQ in Wales. I'm just griping to the community so they cough up and help me. Right? I don't ask for much. And land in Colorado, which turned out to be scrub, but somebody's thinking on taking it on and doing this bit of land there. So there's there. I've got some in Canada near Ottawa, and this land in Portugal on the Silver Coast is quite a big area. I've got plans for the earth pods. I've got plans for the actual site itself, where my unit, if I want it, my earth pod will be. So I'm going to go and give it a recce and check it out. I might go to Portugal.
And is there a place people can go, like website or whatever, that they can keep up on this or sign up for it, donate to it?
I have been. Now, this is something
Put in an application for it.
I'm telling you now what I've had to do, okay? Now, you guys will make sense of this. Now, since I've set it up, I've had trouble managing it with everything else I got going on. So I enlisted the help of Didi Van, because she's epic at this stuff. So I slot her email out so people,
Didi, as in the Flat Earth Conference organizer. Didi Van.
Yeah, you can't beat
Genius.
My Didi.
Pick the better.
Oh my God!
Oh,
now
my
I've got 100%.
You're a genius.
Now I've got 100% confidence in it.
Right,
Whatever you're talking about, I've got 100% confidence.
It will get
Brand.
done. Didi will get it done.
I thought to myself, now, who's good at managing shit? Didi.
Didi.
And you're all right. You're far away, though. So, yeah, I got Didi to give her email. I have to spare that she kindly donated. So people send to her. And
that's right up her alley, what she wants to do anyway. Get away from all the technical stuff and get more into building.
Absolutely.
I hear somebody told me Owen Benjamin was doing I haven't watched him. I haven't really had time, but he was saying that he's going to be doing exactly the same, setting up some sort of breakaway civilization. Like, just if everyone could just, tally under the same ideal, get this moving along, this could really do some, serious help to humanity, guys, at this period in time. Like I'm saying, it's like the horror film. It's like a horror film. What's happening with the children and the people. But I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking like 20 years, 30 years down the road.
Yeah. After all the bullshit happens.
We need to get some out away from it, just to keep the human people going. It's at that fucking critical moment now, guys. Where they're just gonna do what? Do what?
I've got a better idea. Let's just take the Satanist weirdo nut jobs that are signing up for any of this crap and send them all to a geographic location, and then the whole world us for ourselves.
Yeah. Don't kill them, right? Send them to the Isle of Wight. Okay. Don't let them off. Like, keep David Icke on there, okay, because he can work with these scannies, okay. And what we're going to do, we're going to farm for us. So they'll be making hemp products. So we can get them weaving hemp baskets, like the crazy dribbling fools that they are. Okay.
I'll send them to what was that? Dead Pedos Island.
Hi, Brazil.
Hi, Brazil.
Send him in a boat. Say go.
Eric the Viking.
Yeah, I sort of feel affronted by having to leave my country, and just think, well, if we just took 600 uh, stuffy-faced assholes in the city of London and stuck them, like you say, on the
Yeah,
Isle of
but
Wight
there
or
would
the
be
Isle of Man.
600 more assholes waiting in line to try to take their
Japan.
place.
New readers come in. Nobody's got the idea yet. These people rule us. They don't even know. I think they do know. The game's up. It's over for them. Yeah, the war is over, and the spiritual war is where we won it. It's not the physical war that hasn't, but the spiritual war we've won because we know, and we can turn this round. But it takes one to know, and now there's thousands.
Are there buildings like the House of Commons and Big Ben and all that? Are they theirs, or are they are they monuments that we don't know about? I mean,
Okay.
should they burn to the ground?
Well, I covered this. I covered this, right? The Houses of Parliament burned to the ground, right, in the 1800s, at the same period of all other big famous buildings burned down. Okay, I've got pictures of what it looked like with his pencils or engravings. But what you won't get is any photographs of it, the fire or the new building you see there today being built. Okay, it just miraculously arrived.
When did it burn down?
Well, look for yourself.
Like the space station.
It's like the space station.
When did it burn down originally? Do you know?
Yeah, 1838.
When did Guy Fawkes try to blow it up?
In
I
the
know
1850s, and Guy Fawkes was not the chief conspirator. I don't know why people keep. It was Pierce.
He was a
Percy.
patsy, wasn't he, Guy
Yes.
Fawkes?
He was Patsy, and his name was Guido. Anyway, they hung on and quartered him. And guess what, Zach? How psychic is this? Guess what I posted tonight?
Huh.
I posted about Guy Fawkes. I found him being tortured. Okay, and I posted them tonight in these crazy depictions I put up tonight. So I haven't put a video up yet. I'm going to do it tomorrow. But yeah, it's a book of color art from just the most mind-blowing thing from 1550 to 1610. So it's a 60-year period. It shows the whole world and basically this giant fleet, Phoenicians, with animals that we don't know existed until I show you them. I mean, like, what? They make starports blow up in one big explosion like they've hit a magazine. How's that even possible with a cannonball? Lucky strike. So they take out listen to this, and it's not even in the official narrative, right? I've been looking. They go into all the European cities in Holland and Belgium. I'm talking like Hague, Gravenhage, all of the major cities of Northern Europe, these on the coasts, that is, are on canal systems. They go into these massive fleets, right? They blow up all of the starports and these giant Italian cities inside. You can still see the Moorish onion domes. That's how you know they're still Italian in that period. They go in, and these depictions show you murdering, chopping up, raping, and just stealing everything they can see and just filling it up in sacks. They show it for every single city they go in. So when you check an official narrative, I'm like, so when did the entire residents of Den Haag get murdered then? And what about the entire residents of Breda? When did they all get hung? Because you won't find it in the official narrative because it ain't there. This book shows it.
Wow.
Craziest thing.
Yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow now.
Yeah, I'm going to do part 2 anyway because I only done like half my blog because I lost time, and I found some amazing photographs, but from 1850s through to 1890s of America. Okay, but they show like just craziest stuff I've never seen. I'd have to wait. Anyways, no point me telling you.
What are some good words for if other people want to research this stuff? Like, what are a lot of the keywords you'll put in when you're
tags?
Okay.
Mudflood, Tartaria, Tartary, Fasces, Starforts, Antiquitech. I put in things like associated things with it, so it will be like airships, bunko booths. I've got a website basically, and Flat Earth British Info website. Now this is an absolutely superb resource, guys. Okay, it'll tell you absolutely everything, every aspect of this subject. Okay. And on my resources, there are maybe 20,000 books turned on. There's 15,000 really newly released Vatican archive books people go through, and all like some of my favorites. So it's like natural medicine books, books like Book of the Damned by Walt, and books about
And Rice, yeah.
brilliant books on my website. So yeah, maybe about 10,000 books on there. Turned on my website. So yeah, I got massive resource. My best resource is me. And I'm not even joking.
Yeah. I can tell. Yeah. It seems like you have all this stuff in your brain.
Well, I guess I'm like all YouTubers. I collect thumbnails, but like I have they take about 10 minutes to scroll down because there's that many there in all of the different places you can keep not thumbnails, bookmarks. Excuse me. So I keep thousands, and they're all into like interlocking subfiles, which will take me into other collections and gigabytes and gigabytes on hard drives, collections of art and atlases, lead atlases. To make sure, in case all my computers went down and all my data, I had to spend the time. I took 2 days doing it, of writing all of the serial numbers, all of my lead atlases, in pen and paper, so that I would always keep them because I knew they would be that valuable.
That's
Nice.
brilliant.
Nice.
Great
People
idea to
need
keep a
to
physical copy.
people need to think forward on this sort of stuff and download entire websites, download anything that you see on YouTube or whatever. Keep a look at it. What is that website that you were showing just then, Martin? What's your website?
That's at britishinfo.com.
I've just dropped it in the chat,
All
and
right.
I'm about to put it in the description of the show.
That's it. So
Yeah,
as I
but
said,
it's not flatearthbritish.info. It's
Yeah.
flatearthbritishinfo.com. Yeah.
/ you said, but yeah, that's it. And it's wicked resource. Yeah, so much on there. So if you want to learn about this subject, which is like once you dive in, it's just a massive rabbit hole, like flat Earth was, guys. It's just you get lost in it. It just encompasses your reality. You just want to know.
I'm scared of it. To me, it's like looking at the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
It really
It's an abyss,
is.
man. It's an abyss. You know it. That's how I feel. Deeper I go as well. It's just the best. It's just the best ever. It's just the best ever. Thanks, guys. That's the website. Yeah, so it's all a learning curve. Anyway, I'm just learning every day like the rest of us. I know what this place is. I think we've done like leaps and bounds in the last 5 years, guys. Just amazing what's been found. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, from where we were even 2 years ago,
Yeah, definitely, Zach.
it has really changed. There's been a huge swing. People aren't smirking and laughing so much about all this stuff.
Listen,
They're asking a lot more questions.
this a boy shouted at me yesterday. He shouted over to me, only joking. He said, "Yeah, it's a globe, man." I said, "No, man, flat thumbs like that." And he goes, "Yeah, like that. There's flat thumbs." This is the local hoodie gang, yeah. And they all know me around here. I've had Instagrams with them. They just people now, right? They're just happy that I'm a flat earther.
Oops, sorry.
3 years ago, it wasn't the same though. My family couldn't stand me. They thought I'd gone completely nuts.
Well, things have changed though, haven't they?
Now, because it's all over the news and it's been on Coronation Street and on with Horny Willoughby and Philip Schofield. So it's definitely true. Now it's on the telly.
I definitely see a difference, especially. I mean, I cut my teeth in Twitter, and you used to. I mean, I would have sweaty armpits all day because I'd be trolled by people, and I used to think that it was worth explaining to them what it was I thought, because I thought other people watched Twitter, but it turns out that no one does and no one cares, and all you're doing is bleeding your own insides out and worrying about this crap every day that someone's wrong on the internet. So, but now there are no trolls. I can put something out and no one comes back other than people saying, people coming back positively, basically. I don't know. Maybe they've laid off a load of Brigade 77s or
Yeah, they
whatever
send
it
in
is.
waves.
Yeah, there's still plenty of people out there, I'm sure, willing to exert that energy.
Maybe I've just
There's a
muted
bikini stain or two
99%
out there.
of Twitter. Maybe I've just mute. Well, every thread you guys involve me in, I end up muting. So
There you go.
maybe
So,
that's it.
That's probably part of it.
But it makes for a very peaceful life. And,
It does. It's
you
nice
know,
to go to Twitter when there's
nice focused
assholes.
life. Not having to have sweaty armpits first thing in the morning when you see you've got 500 notifications from total idiots. But yeah, there you go.
I wouldn't break a sweat. I wouldn't give a damn about it.
Well, that's what I came to. Basically, it was just a case of I don't care.
Yeah,
Refresh and go away. But you always feel a bit guilty about not replying to the ones that were genuine and
I make the effort. You can sue games who's just being, horrible anyway.
Well, it's like chat for me anyway. I mean, it's sort of known by now that I don't have much confidence in chat. I would rather we had a third party chat that people had to log into, that that they actually made an effort to get to that chat, and so they're not just going to come in and talk about bollocks. But it's the same with Twitter, really. It's I'd rather just put my email out there, and if they can be bothered to actually drop an email, then I might be bothered to reply to them. But chat is just too easy. Tweets or whatever are just too easy. Comments on videos are just too. There's so many video content makers I follow that
we have some pretty awesome wrenchers, though, spanners here in our group, man. It's been a while since we've had a really bad run. Now, every now and again, a big crew will show up with Bob or somebody, and that have followed him to give them shit, and they're giving us crap. But as soon as the wrenches see that, they usually get on it and they're out of here pretty quick. So you're safe, John. Is what I'm trying to say. Come on.
Yeah, no.
It's safe, man. The water's fine.
I'm not trying to denigrate the chat or anything along those lines. I would just rather, in an ideal world, I'd rather we had a third party chat outside of YouTube that people who actually wanted to chat and commentate on the show and that sort of thing would feel that they could log into and know that and then I'd watch it, but the fact is that any old bot can come on here and just talk bollocks, then I just don't bother. I sorry guys, I just can't be looking at it. And the same with comments. Every time now, 6 years later, after the gyroscope videos, I'm still getting replies on it. And they're like, yeah, but you've got a cord attached to it. And at 9 minutes and 15 seconds, it does this. And it's just like, get over it. Just get over it. And so I've turned comments off now. So
I still get trolled from Simon Dan's video he made about me. I was on his third video ever.
Yeah, right.
Full of your retard.
Life's just too short, really, sometimes.
Now,
if someone emailed me, then that's a different thing, because they actually took the point.
Psychoanalyzing me and pulling me out on every single fault in a in a certain manner as well. I get them now and again. Like, am I really like that?
But again, life's too short to really give a toss about that sort of thing.
Just doesn't really matter, does it? At the end of the day, it's just people like sad and lonely and just venting, and they're hiding behind their computer screens. The person there's not there, so they just, if you were face to face, they'd probably be just same as everyone else and just be all right.
Well, exactly. Face to face things are a lot different.
Very childish. It is that sort of thing. It's elements of just childish behaviour, isn't it?
Well, I see a lot of channels now that are either turning comments off, or they don't look at chat or any of that sort of. Don't get me wrong. Some people's like yourself, Martin. A lot of your content involves your
Comment.
chat. Yes, exactly.
Does.
And that attracts people that actually want to constructively comment on what you're looking at. But most of the time, it's just gibberish. But yeah, sorry, chat. Not calling you gibberish or anything. Just most of you. Some of you. I'll shut up now. Digging.
I love it, John. No, we were talking about that this morning, how things back in the day weren't said like they are today. Like, if you insulted somebody, it wasn't just the Hicks that were doing it. It was the guys who founded it. You were dueling. There was going to be a duel. Somebody's getting shot.
Yeah, man.
And they don't have that today. There is no, and with the internet, it's like a huge security blanket. People can say whatever they want, and there's no repercussion.
So right. You're so right. Yeah, bang on. Yeah, if you did that shit in the real world 20 years ago, man, you was definitely going to be having a face-off. It was on.
Yeah, someone's getting punched in the face.
Definitely. Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, some of the things have been said to me. It's just been like, I when I was new to YouTube, I used to chop stuff back and say, come say that on my face. I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't give it the energy anymore. I'd have to care first. Yeah, I can see all the people in chat there. Walt, good peeps.
Right.
I know it's most.
Well, before we all get off track and trail out, is there something you did want to get to we didn't get to yet today, man?
There's so much happening, isn't there?
Why do you think about that? Then someone who's chat friendly, say hello to whoever's in chat that actually should be in chat or is useful in chat.
Who?
Oh, crickets! Fucking.
I'm
hell.
not really sure what you're asking us to do, but there's some awesome people in chat. If that's what.
Yeah,
you're
that's what I'm saying. You give
Doc
shout
Michael's
outs to
there,
the
of
people in
course.
chat. I'm
Well,
not saying there's no one useful in chat. I'm saying now.
There's all kind of useful folks.
I know.
He just handled
Apparently.
some unpleasantness for us just seconds ago. Thank you, Doc. We appreciate that.
I
But
wouldn't have timed him out. I'd have banned him.
We had
Some people like that usually trolls. That might be not him. Usually really wonderful. I don't know what's going on. I've been watching it.
I was thinking the same thing earlier on, how it started going off the track. But
years, and he's been awfully nice. I don't think that's the same person at all.
No, without the ability to check.
No, why did they take that away? So
Yeah.
Heidi Stanton
Without that
here.
ability,
Bogey's
it
here.
makes it
Stinge
so
Man's here. Shout out Flat Earth, Aussie Roscoe. Oh man, I'm trying to go back up.
Underground, something mate.
It's frozen. It's frozen.
Happens. So yeah, it's been a wonderful time. Really, I've been enjoying this reset. I've been thinking there's something else that's been happening all along. I think a magic trick. You see, watch this hand here, and I'll do something.
That's all. Yeah, that's the.
It's a guilty feeling, though, don't you think, Martin?
Over here that you should be concerned about.
Don't you think it's like a guilty sort of pleasure that this lockdown thing? I mean,
no, I can't stand it. I'm a type of person who likes to travel and be out all the time. My friends are meeting people and that. To me, to be out, just be stuck in. I'm walking, pacing up and down my backyard like the Birdman of Alcatraz. John, it's not funny. Okay. I'm not into it.
I've been socially isolating for at least 10 years now, ever since I retired.
Same. And I had been a terrible bugger for germs. I was like Howard Hughes as a kid. In fact, if anyone used to come and hang around in my house, right, like I had all like, the bedroom was like brilliant with massive speakers and stuff. And my mates used to hang around in there. But if they come in my bedroom, they're like, don't be sitting on my bed if you've been sitting on public transport. Yeah. I would check. I had a phobia. Always wash my hands. And that's how I've been my entire life. And social distance. Yeah. I don't believe
Well, I just can't really talk to non-flat earthers. I just don't have the time anymore.
I tried, mate. I have tried to friends with non-flat earthers, but it's like a driller killer in my head. Terrible. Can't listen to any of it. So luckily, most of my friends, or if not all, are flat earthers.
Yeah, I've got one non-flat earther who, yeah, it's only a matter of time, really.
So you were talking about red bricks earlier.
Yeah, man.
When I met my wife, she was living in an apartment in the south side of downtown St. Louis, Missouri. And by the time she moved out, I had sort of moved in with her, and we were going to pay rent to the management company. And she walks up to the door, and I'm sitting in the car on the street, and I look up at the door that she walks through, and there's this giant red shield right on the door. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here? And this is like a little artsy neighborhood kind of downtown. And right across the street, there's a little coffee shop. And above the coffee shop is like this little art house. And in the windows of the art house are all these little art projects. But the one that is directly across from this red shield is just this big poster of a single eyeball looking down on this giant red shield. So I get to thinking about this red brick property and the red shield.
I posted about red bricks. I found evidence in the past, in antiquity, that they put blood into bricks to tone them. You know, modern day they use Lametex and other substances, but in the past they used blood in them. So, you know, I did a post called Blood Red Bricks, and I was proposing, I don't know, it's something more sinister been happening, and they put in blood of the Tartars in the bricks. Something like that. But I don't know whether you know, guys, but I posted this thing about, and it was my last video on my channel before it got hacked, was bone battery banks. And what we found was evidence under these catacombs in Paris, where there's 18.5 million skeletons, of them being stacked in a circular motion with wire cables going through them, all compressed and fitted together. So then studying bones, we found that they had piezoelectric forces released if under compression. Ooh, that opened a big can of worms for us, guys. So we started to delve deep. And what we found was this. Before us were giants. In one of these resets past, they built the buildings at Italia for giants. St. Petersburg is a city built for giants. Ancient Rome was a city built for giants. Okay, so at some period, there was giants in the past. Okay, where they all are could be dead. They could be all below our feet. Okay, plus all the trillions of people, all in layers of mud flood resets, below our feet, below our feet, below our feet, being compressed. Now, if all of them got compressed, they would release piezoelectric forces. Now, they keep skeletons under church machines, which are energy gathering antiquity devices. Now, imagine, right? They say the lightning, okay, starts from the ground and not from the air. So we proposed, okay, when they're trying to capture this lightning in the basically the energy gatherer on the spire, that the bones under the church are causing piezoelectric forces, which completes the circuit for lightning and actually makes it work. So when the lightning is coming from the ground, it's coming from the released piezoelectric forces of all of the bones of all the reset victims below our feet, causing the lightning.
That's nuts. If I'm not mistaken, there's red brick streets there around that church that I took the pictures of in Abbeville, Louisiana.
Abbeville.
Which had the huge, tall, what looked like maybe copper or something that had green, that had turned green.
Yeah, that's oxidation. They use copper. It's copper plated, yeah.
I thought of like what's it that the GANs on it, like some kind of GANs, like with the free energy, that type of thing. Is what it looked like had been applied to the surface. And like I said, right there across the street, and there were also all these the pictures, Josh, or some of them I threw there in Telegram if you pop them up. Cool. But they had these weird little, tiny little short rods that were attached to like these big thick wires, braided wires that were running down to the ground all around the edges of the church. Not up high like a lightning rod would be, but on the lower levels of the church.
Beans.
Are you there, Josh?
Yeah, gotcha.
You got them?
I just thought the sign itself was pretty interesting.
Yeah, the sign's pretty crazy too. 4 churches there.
Dedicated to Saint Mary Magdalene,
Mm.
who apparently stood there in Louisiana.
Right. So if you look, I didn't take a picture of it apparently, but if you look to the right of that signage, there's that low gray building, but then right next to it is that tall white building with, like, you can see many layers, and there's something behind it. That's the Abbeville power plant that is connected to that church by cables that are at least 7 to 8 feet. 7 to 8 inches in diameter, as
Wow.
they're all twisted and
The
coiled
numerologists are going to
together.
have a field day on that info right there. 1843,
Yeah, Mary Magdalene stood there.
11,
What?
9/11. Count the ways.
No.
Click over to the next one. I'm not sure which ones I even sent, Josh. Yeah, there's the big spire, and like I said, at the very top, you see how it's turning like that greenish, or was that greenish color, and it washed away, or I'm not sure.
Well,
That whole thing is metal for sure. And there's not, I don't see any other churches in the area that have the big tall one like that. They all have a spire, but they're not that tall, and there's usually just the cross is the tall part.
it looks like there's loads of that church missing underground.
I was thinking that I took a picture actually of a place that you can see that's got a little underground shot. Did I send that one to you or not, Josh? I don't know. But
I'm not sure.
Oh, look. So you see that's like this weird rotunda that's
Yeah.
behind that big spire I'm at the back of the church now. And that's like sitting like on top of this flat area behind the big spire in the front of the church. And then there's the little, if you see to each side of, well, I guess I could actually.
No, you got little portals on each side. What portal window?
Right, exactly. The portals. And then there's let me see, where's my mouse? Do you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so these little things, these
no,
little
that's
are
mine.
all around the edge. And if you go to one of these next pictures, Josh, I think I go from the wire up to it. Or maybe it's the video where I go to the wire. Yeah, this video.
You want audio here?
You can, it don't matter. I'm just rapping about this weird thick wire that's not high enough to be a lightning rod.
It's not lightning rod because they're actually flat copper strips. I used to pick them.
So they're those rods are connected by these thick braided like cables.
No, man, I don't know what that is.
There's not that much lightning here.
It's 5G.
Yeah, it is sometimes when it's storming, but
It's a chunky cable, though, isn't it?
Yes.
I think in this same video I found
5G.
the other cable. Maybe keep watching.
Also across the street from
Yeah, this is it.
Sugar Place.
Oh, sorry, it's so wiggly.
Which,
Nice.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to show you. Yeah, there's the power plant. Man, that's horrible. Be still.
That's a nice power plant.
I'm trying to get around and get to the cable, and it's probably the next video that I didn't send you actually. And bad picture.
That's a gutter. Look
That's
at
an
the
old-
It is a
Look at
gutter.
the
There's
downspout.
probably some reason I took the picture. There's no telling. Just following those cables, those weird thick cables.
at the top, probably.
Yeah, let me find the other one that shows that underground thing. Hang on. Oh, this may be it when I go around to the side and show the.
Abbeville sounds like Amityville, don't it?
Right?
That's some nice windows in that.
Nice 3 little archways there.
I thought it, but you got there first.
Boom.
There's also this weird, like almost Buddhist looking statue somewhere on the grounds. I think it might be right here on the front.
Also, that statue out the front, is it a fleur de lis or
Ooh, is it?
well, It's like I don't know what you call it. A cup that you'd get if you won something. Those
Right, like a victory cup or whatever. There's a word for it. I just
Yeah.
can't think of it.
But I do remember
Chalice?
Chalice, yeah, something like that. I
Maybe.
do remember the guy who is now sort of homeless, but he's been traveling around Europe and pointing out the Masonic
Nice.
triangle. Do you know this guy? Does anyone know? Someone interviewed him quite recently. God, tell me I'm not talking bollocks. He lives out of a backpack now and goes around. He's been jailed by the Polish. He's always talking about.
Oh wait,
Flatteningly.
you did mention this before.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I've seen a video of this guy.
You've talked about it, John, but I don't know the guy.
Always the way.
The power plant next door is crazy, isn't it?
And the syrup place, Steens. That's this thick black strap molasses syrup they call it here. I'm about to show you the little underground area right here. I think, yeah, where that little grate is off, which is grated up. All these little underground areas. I guess so the demons can't get out. I don't know. I don't know.
Weird.
There's all
I
those.
noticed that out in New Mexico. I went to go visit a couple caves, and they were closed because of white nose syndrome. Some kind of bat that gets sick, and they get some white stuff on their nose, and it's deadly to blah, 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 blah.
Shit, I've been there.
That's lovely, that place.
This may be when I actually go around to the side and look at I'm not looking at it. I'm just finding this as I'm exploring the area, and I find the big thick cable. I think I'm not sure. And red brick, of course, everywhere.
Yeah.
Got to give the Masons something to build.
Why they call Freemasons? Because the masonry was free because they stole it. Oh, I'll go low that window.
Oh, and all this shit. These electrical boxes here that I've walked by, I do think I come back and look at them really, and they're like really sophisticated, way beyond anything that would be on some kind of church. I don't know. It's just really
Maybe
strange.
they tacked it out with 5G for the future. Maybe
Maybe
that's
so. Maybe so. The future proofed it, right?
Maybe. Maybe that's what they're doing with Notre Dame when they refix
all of our above ground burials we do here in the South Louisiana area.
What's that then? Toilet?
That's what I wondered what that was. That's why I filmed it, because I've never seen that in a graveyard, that little weird stone sitting there like that. Don't have a clue.
Yeah, I've always wondered about over here how much stuff was hidden or is actually still out there. Because a lot of this place is untouched. And the government has military bases and, there's people who have hundreds of thousands of acres.
Yeah. For all that stuff they built in the Cold War. Where's all that stuff now?
Mm-hmm.
See how quickly they changed the paradigm there? We've no need for nuclear bunkers anymore, or any sort of command.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened, dude? You guys aren't worried about nukes anymore, or what?
Well, they're not real anymore.
There's not that much lightning here. I mean, there is sometimes when it's storming, but
Oh, is this the other video again?
Yes. Yeah.
And I completely got enthralled with this and talking and forgot to look for the other video.
Yeah,
Or maybe this is it. Go forward a little bit more.
There's not much left.
Steam syrup.
Oh no, there's not much left.
Yeah,
I was so enthralled I didn't realise what the time was, but I'm going to bail out. I might see you in the after show, Martin, but it's been a pleasure again, as always. There seems to be nothing we can't talk about that doesn't lead down some interesting path. So I've enjoyed it immensely again, but I will bail out with some sort of dignity, and I will see you soon. And thanks a lot to the other guys, and chat. I love you.
Love
You
you,
should
cousin.
feel privileged. That's more than we get. We love you, John. Have a good weekend. Sleep well.
Love you, John.
Weekend.
Yeah, I'm one of those few people that feel privileged on the
That's
Saturday and Sunday that my slave masters would deem me worthy to grant me 2 days all to myself. Isn't that nice of them? I do so love my slave masters. They're so kind.
It's just like Stockholm Syndrome, only worse.
Right? Only worse because it's forever.
It's awful, isn't it? The things they make us do. They draw our energy to make money for just that 1%. That's just insane. Train us up from birth. People do the most insane crap as well, just to draw their energy into that money earning just to survive. That's another part of the paradigm, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to do
That's
that.
a big part of it.
Yeah. You know, all the energy to have back to, develop consciousness and, become your true consciousness self and, experience this place. All the great works that would happen.
Yeah, but that would be positive energy, and they don't want that.
Well, we're creators, aren't we, Zach? So we just create, all of us, and we would just create, on the same bus, beautiful, beautiful place. But like I said, with the control mechanism, constant attack on our senses, all of it, the foods, the water, the injections, the electromagnetics. They even got sort of technologies, guys, where they can put, with the mind control technologies. And I've been reading about this stuff for years. This stuff goes back to the 50s. The Russians and the Americans nailed this, where they can put voices into people's heads, tell them to do shit.
Oh, yeah.
Surround.
All 4 branches of our military have this technology, and they all have names for it. And yeah, they say it was deployed during Desert Storm. Supposedly 1,400 Iraqi soldiers dismantled their weapons and put them down because Allah told them to.
Put their hands over their heads and waited for the tanks to roll in.
Yeah.
Why did you do it? Well, yeah, Allah told us to. V2K, baby. V2K.
I can't remember what I said last.
Welcome to my world.
What's what I just said?
Yeah, somebody said somewhere that heavy cannabis use is bad for your short-term memory, but I don't remember who said it or where.
Small sacrifice, good. I manage. I wing it through life. I manage so far. It's marvelous.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, Martin, don't fix it. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
Keep doing it, friend.
Yeah. Can't blame me for breaking stuff. I didn't break the world. That was them.
Yep. You're trying to fix it.
Yeah, man.
It's like that when I found it.
I've never sort of contributed to it. It's why I left my last job, because of their stinking carbon footprint. And thinking in them, that's how I've been. So, like you, Zach, just any of their, the toxins and their pollutions, I've been just like, get away from me. Been like it all my life. And I prefer it out in the country, in woods, in the grass, with the nature and the critters. Critters are where it's at.
Oh, yeah. They know this place so much better than we do.
Yeah, I got a squirrel living in my tree, Zach. And he's just feet away from my window. I've been trying to coax him in and wanting to make friends and hang out and watch YouTubes with me.
I just watched a video on a guy who gave a squirrel CPR. that got shocked by the electrical cables.
Oh, did he?
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, saved it. It got up and ran. But I was like, they were being idiots. It was starting to piss me off.
Hmm.
Okay, this squirrel just got shocked. Okay, and yeah, it stopped breathing, and you brought it back to life. That's cool. And it started to try to get away, and then it would stop, and they would go and try to pet it. It's like, dude, just leave it. It's a wild animal. It doesn't
Yeah.
want you touching it.
That's selfish, isn't it?
The thing just got shocked to shit. It probably fucking feels horrible right now.
No.
Why are you trying to touch the thing? I mean, it's great you saved it and all, but now you're just tormenting the
You don't know though. It might have been nice.
thing.
Muscles
Yeah,
were
it
probably
didn't-
all tense. It probably needed a good massage.
But yeah, he didn't like blow into its mouth or anything. He was just sitting there doing compressions on its chest, and it finally started breathing on its own and took off. Yeah, it was
Five.
cool.
2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, little fella. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Starts beating on the thing.
Just fucking it real hard in the chest.
You.
Oh, poor squirrel. Oh. Yeah, nature rocks. Does no harm, does it? Anything. Just it is. All of the rubbish in this world's humanity, isn't it? It's nothing to do with nature. What's that there?
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought my-
nature's like the best medicine there is.
Laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, laughter. I do that all day. And music. Yeah, music unlocks a lot. I'm very careful what I listen to though. Dancing. Dancing rocks. I like dancing a lot.
Yeah, singing is great.
Singing rocks. I'm Welsh, and I come from the land of song, in case you didn't know. So we all like inherently sing. I sing when I'm 12, apparently. Yeah. So all of the I like spontaneous things, music, just like whatever takes me at the moment. You know, I've been known to go down the shops with a bottle of milk and be gone 2 years. Yeah, and come back. And with the milk.
Didn't forget the milk.
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what.
So, so when are you thinking the homesteading place? When do you think you might get out there?
I bought a caravan Zach, right, on the cheap off some dying guy. It just miraculously landed in my lap, yeah? Didn't have much money, but it didn't cost much, so I was lucky. But I've been working on it, doing it up. It's beautiful. And it's all working, full powered, ready to go. So it's a lockdown, like you're supposed to be lapsed in Wales this week, yeah, but you're not allowed to go on holiday or any freedoms or anything, but not going to be asked. So friend's going to hook it up, and then we're going to dive off in that. So I've been trying to find some land where I could put my caravan outside of a little break from this place. So I'm looking at land in South Wales, in West Wales, to be more specific. I have a plan. There's a reason why they're strategic-wise, and it's like £5,000, some of this land. It's like a good few acres, bit of woodland, but we need something with water. The one I was looking at was 25 grand, had 2 streams, big massive woodlands. Can't remember what it was, like 6 acres or something. But it had the potential for like log cabins. Now it goes better than this. Zach. Check this out. One of my friends, or our flat of British man in San Francisco, Larry, his factory got closed down, like just as he built it, set it up, like because of coronavirus. So he does a video for me. He says, "See this factory here? So this is for you can utilize this for the barrier. Can you got any ideas?" So we're looking at a factory for wood and CNC machines, yeah, build and 3D printers, yeah. So at the moment, all he was building was like ganja-related products and guns. Apparently, that's what he was doing. But now, so the ideas were water wheels, materials for log cabins, set up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's happy. Like, so as soon as the barrier's set up in America, you know, I've even got like stuff, you know, that can be made and shipped to these places for the people to be inhabited. And we're going to go in there free, man. Going to give them an ability, if they so choose, to properly exit this matrix and go free, man, and trade it, you know, just try and get there national insurance number out of it, or even try and get the money if they can, but get off the system fully. And they shouldn't be able to fuck with us. You know, we've been studying, I'm going into this like aimlessly thinking and just going to go like whimsically into a dream. You know, we studied other separate communities. There was one set up in Romania, and it's a state of its own, and it's actually privately owned, not messed with. Look at this. They got San Marino, Liechtenstein, Andorra. They got stacks of little self-custodian little states, which are not messed with, which are left alone. Yeah. So they do exist, guys, you know. And
there's even smaller ones. There's some up in Canada where people, like, all the money that's made from the stuff they do is all like put into a pot, and they have certain stuff, and they have a movie theater, and and they all like make their own food, and it's neat how they have it set up.
No, this is
I saw a story about one in Oregon while I was there that has like a tiny home community all surrounding a big central area where they do the food and the community stuff, the game nights, the movie, that, you know, that kind of thing. So that idea of having your own area that's just enough for what you need, but still a big place that everybody can have the love, community, and just the togetherness. I love that.
Like a central gathering point.
Definitely need one.
Designed like a star fort.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we had all sorts of plans, like, you know, buying shipping containers, sticking them underground, you know, having
absolutely,
we can go in aquaponic if we need. But, you know, grow foods and backup foods underground in case something goes wrong. Upper foods and, you know, just do it all, do what we can, you know.
Like real smart.
All of it. But, you know, what we want to do is release some of these, you know, ideas to free energy and utilize them, show them. We can use magnets, we can use copper, we can use free energy, we can light up free. Yeah, we know how to do that. We can do that now. So there's loads of, you know, different perpetual motion machines using magnets, you know, perpetual lighting as well. Really, guys, you know, why they're not using it now when you can do it? It's just, we will, and we'll show them. We'll harness it all. You know, we'll show them how healthy, how longer people are living. You know, no need for any of that. It'll work. It's going to happen anyway. It's happening. Born. It never went away.
Attitude.
I said this never went away. I don't think this ideal's gone away. I says it was born, but barbarian never went anywhere. It just needed a breath of air to it. This is what everyone wants. They don't even know it yet, but they will. Because they won't have no option, or they're going to be stuck in a nightmare. They're going to be stuck in a shitty horror B movie. Is what they're going to be stuck in. If they stay.
Yeah, I mean, the movies say it all.
They're like zombies. Everyone's grassing on everyone else, Zach. You can't live in a place like that where it's like a Gestapo. And, you know, we had like, you know, people to worry about before, but now everyone, you know, it's only a small percentage that are cool and know that this is all bullshit. Most people watch the telly still. Most people are out clapping their hands and cheering for the NHS, you know.
Yeah, designing their newest mask that they get to wear.
All the way. We've got over my roof going, right, big Hercules transporter military planes on a daily basis. I tried to grab one on my camera yesterday, but it went over too quick. It said on the Wales newsfeed today that they're dropping in tens of thousands of new dust masks. So new masks, new face masks. So they're bringing in like on Hercules transporters into my city. For who? Exactly. Right? I'll get a note. Anyway, I'm immune. Did you hear it?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm immune to bullshit.
I was hoping to use it today. Nobody said a word to me though.
Did you?
Yeah, I wanted someone to say something so I could be like, "Oh no, you didn't hear? There's immunity. Some people are immune.
I am actually
I'm one of them.
Yeah, and I'm immune to everything. I'm immune to TB. I'm immune to everything, really. I got a painting in the attic. He gets it all.
Dorian Gray,
yeah.
Have you ever heard anything about any tech like that?
Yeah.
Like Dorian, like the black mirrors or whatever?
All sorts of bizarre, strange tech coming out of this sort of what they call the Victorian era. Yeah, projecting machines. So I like I'm really big into supernatural and supernatural phenomena, and I've had like experiences in my life to know that there's definitely something going on with it, guys, right? And machines for manifestation from the spiritual world. One was invented by a guy called John Logie Beer, or he was affiliated with it, called television, which was invented for psychic communication across dimensions, basically. So anything associated with telly or even cinema or anything to do with this paradigm lensing technology, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on in this journey. I can't get to it, I'm not too bad. It's to do with them. It's the most mind-blowing thing, guys. I'm telling you what they've done. And it's just and reflections as well. There's something going on reflections as well. But even pools of water got reflections. Okay.
Right. Well, early on, remember we all kind of found that old nugget about looking at an eclipsed moon and the reflection of a pool of water or a pond or something, and you might see something unusual.
Yes. Yeah. Reflections everywhere, car windows, shop windows, you walk down the road, you are reflected, tens of thousands of times a day. It's just the most bizarre of things. But I think there's something else going on, you see, I really do. I'm down on a fundamental spiritual level with it all. There's so many predictive programming things to say, there's a rhyme in Britain. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester in a shower of rain. He stepped in the puddle, went up to his middle and never went there again. But you heard that at all? That's a British one. But I think there's something going on with it all, with reflections, with mirror technology. I think they harness it and they use it. I think that's a type of magic. But magic technology.
Well, yeah, wasn't there supposedly Egyptian mirrors that they would use to light up everything, supposedly with sunlight?
Yeah.
Could they have been used for something else?
Fifth Element, man, come on.
I've seen mirrors cut stone. I've seen an experiment in Peru where they just used parabolum, where sunlight reflected on another mirror. By the time it hit the stone, it was like a laser beam, and it just deaggregated the stone and turned it to dust. So this has been proposed. This was a way of cutting ancient stone, deaggregation through lenses. Evidence of ships being blown up in harbours using mirrors, parabolum again. One mirror off another mirror onto a ship coming into the harbour, no problem at all. Thing bursts up in flames. It's that much energy. Yeah? It's like giant zapping of ants, if you like. They can mag it up as well. So yeah, I posted about in the last few weeks, all of that. I've been talking about mirrors so much and the use of them in the past. It's an incredible thing. Incredible thing. But like, you remember sort of suggesting that like this could be like, that sun thing or whatever it is up there could be like like a movie projecting lens, because if you remember that really weird eclipse that happened about 2 or 3 years ago, we all watched. Remember that, Zach? Bob went to
2017. Yeah.
Well, Bob went to see it. He was all blown away, wasn't he?
Oh, so yeah. So it was the most beautiful thing he's ever seen in his life.
I was watching it live in a feed. Well, I was live on a feed, and it was with Fried and Survive, a few other people, and he's watching it. And it's like everyone in the field's going like, where's the moon? Isn't the moon supposed to show her? And everyone described the same. Bob even said the same. It looked like it was, like a shutter, sort of refreshing. Just like,
yeah,
just like a refreshing, like a refresh day. And that's what everyone sort of witnessed. There was nothing to do with any moon showing up or anything. There's one there.
Yeah, there was people that were shooting with infrared and all kinds of stuff, trying to catch the moon before the eclipse started. IR cameras, all kinds of different cameras, and nobody has ever caught the moon before an eclipse.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever.
No. But they go with that. I know, with the evidence of your experience tells you that and shows you that. I know. Yeah, but that was a crazy day, that was. And I tell you what, that night, right after watching that, it was so freaky that I was just like losing my shit. I don't know what was the matter with me. I was like having like lunacy or something after watching that eclipse. I just don't even know what happened. I was okay the day after, but I remember being
out something.
Out of character, out of sorts that night. I was just, I don't know.
I was actually in Oregon leading up to that eclipse, and could have stayed in Oregon, which would have been dead center of the path, historic event. And my internal warning system told me to get out of there. Do not be
Yeah.
here when this happens.
Yeah.
Just don't be here.
Don't
Be
you
off to the
stay-
side, either side, but don't be in this path when this comes through. And I did. I left and came back home and had to watch it off from the angle down here, and that was fine. And that weird feeling, everybody at home or back at Oregon, they said that same thing, that whole experience felt weird and creepy and spooky and all of that. I'm like, yep, that's why I got the hell out of there.
It was freaky. I wasn't sure what was going on. It was just like, whoa. And it felt weird too. The whole thing felt weird. I didn't even experience it firsthand. That was just like virtually. What am I looking at? It's like it's refreshing.
And of course, what I did see down here meant absolutely nothing compared to what we're supposed to have seen. You know, the dark image that whatever passed in between me and the sun came down and then sat here a second, then went back up and out this way. So
Yeah, I still think it's apparent. I do, like a lot of people think. I think that it doesn't have to be necessarily, reflected from a fourth dimensional realm. I'm thinking like if it was outside of the water dome, this certain thing, and even the lunar thing, and then parabolically or reflected in, very similar to mirrors, okay, and then you see it. But that makes sense of where people are trying to make the subjectivity card play. But if it was reflected in sort of outside the dome, okay, apparently, then it could be fixed on any point, anywhere, at any time, couldn't it, really? That's just like, so I think that might be a thing going on that is actually outside of our dome, reflecting in, just like fish in water. I've been thinking along them lines recently. I think along a lot of lines. I think it's a water dome, I do. I think it's the densities of water held in place by an acoustic frequency that comes off of Mount Mary, high frequency that holds it in place, because water can hold in place in stasis with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that they could do that. There's an underlying hum in this place as well. Loads of people have noticed about it. If you concentrate on it, there. So is that the resonance that could keep the water dome in place? Is it fluctuating? Some people say
they say it does.
They say it does.
At 7 p.m. UTC time is its maximum.
Oh, is that
and it'll
so?
be 15% higher percent gain in the electric field potential.
Nice. That's interesting.
And then it dissipates off by 4 a.m. and then it stays constant for a while, and then it starts, I think, about 4 hours before 7. About 3, it starts rising up, and then it peaks and then drops off again, like a heartbeat.
Just like a heartbeat. That is interesting.
And it's like to the minute almost. It's crazy how this works. And it happens, it doesn't matter where the sun is on the earth. This happens across the whole earth all at the same time, they say. This is something I'd like to verify. This is one of those things I'd really like to verify.
See that, or test that, or test it. Hashtag test it. John, where you at?
Yeah, so much to test.
It is so much. They say there's been electromagnetic fluctuations. They have been telling us for a little while, haven't they? They say the North Pole is shifting, north towards Russia, and it's going to keep on going. And they're sort of mainstream, sort of nudging towards like what they would call polar flick, but some sort of electromagnetic event, chicken licking, the sky's falling in, that sort of thing. A lot of people think the sun is a portal for some reason, and the black sun is a player. Still, that's on the cards. People are saying that. There's so many.
Yeah, they know there's something up there. They've named it Lilith, and they track it. It's a black something. And
well, funny you should mention that, because there's words of a U2 song that talks about a woman entering the room quietly, and that is what makes humanity fall. She enters the room. Yeah, we're in a room, and she enters. So yeah, that's really interesting. Why Lilith out of the garden as well?
I'm not sure. It's on the ephemeris. They've been printing them for a couple hundred years now, I think. But they have it where all the planets will be throughout the year, where all the constellations will be. And then they have other bodies as well, the moon, the sun, and Lilith.
Wow,
It's even right on the cover. Yeah, it's crazy.
that is crazy. So it could be something in the skies.
And this doesn't cause eclipses either. They know where it is, and sometimes it's near the eclipse. AJC 1844, is that his channel name?
JC 1844, Adam Carter, yes.
Oh yeah,
Better smarts. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah, I know him.
He's done a lot of research into this, and he says he doesn't think this is what is causing eclipses, but they know it's there, and it's not talked about in mainstream anything. You really have to be like an astrologer.
Hmm.
This is more an astrology book than an astronomy book. The positions of all these things above our heads. Yeah, it's a really neat book, The Ephemeris. Kind of like a farmer's almanac almost.
Almanac is all mania, all manic. That's what the word says, all manic. Almanac, all manic. Yeah, good to have a like in Back to the Future, an almanac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you use it?
Yeah, but yeah. As long as it help humanity, obviously. I don't want for much stack. I'm happy with, like this, but could do some good with an almanac. Yeah, damn right.
Yeah, it's all about the intent behind it, isn't it?
The same with words as well. I think people complain that I swear all the time. I can't really help it. I do try, and I am mindful, but I swear deliberately to keep a certain section of society away from me. People who can't dig me swearing, basically, you can't overlook that for the information. And I only do it to express anyway. And I think it's the word intent anyway. If I meant anything nasty with it, it'd sound like it, wouldn't it? Not, it's just like a surprise.
Martin, that like on Glowbusters, some people think I'm very prudish or whatever, because we try to keep it a family style chat on it.
Yeah, you got to it.
And that was because when we started, especially when my son was young and people coming over, that within the chat and that I wanted to be able to watch it with your family and not have it, vulgar or embarrassing. And I think it's fine that people talk any way they want, but I also think it's fine that they have a place to go that's not, that you don't hear it, that you can go and know that you can have your family there. Now, what's funny with you is I know you were paranoid coming on the show about your language, but because I hear more intent than.
I'm mindful. I don't have to swear.
Yeah.
I've done like The Greatest Secret Never Told. I've done the entire series without swearing once. Because I was mindful.
But what was really funny about you is like you were very mindful about it, but I don't even think of you in that context because even though the words might come out of your mouth, they don't come out with the intent, and they don't sound vulgar or anything from you. I've never had a hostile.
I find that really nauseating.
Sorry, I just think that you're really a nice guy. Go ahead and nauseate. I ruined his day. But on the cussing, your intent is never, it never comes off wrong because again, intent really comes through on things like that.
Yeah, Glowbusters was good, but it did cause a little bit of problems.
Ahmed likes to find Glowbusters. I was just hoping that you wouldn't embroil, and I just let that stick over my head because it's not what's important. We all have to remember we're all on the same side.
Yeah, man, definitely. The barbarian.
We have to remember
who the enemy is. It's them.
Yeah, it's like I know looking at the different things, no matter what, like with the little drama and that, regardless of any drama going on, I know when I think of who my enemy is, it's none of any of the people on flat Earth.
Exactly.
There really are evil people and enemies out there, and flat Earth drama is just that, it's silly drama.
Yeah. Even with the enemies, I don't concentrate on them because that is drawing an opposition again. So I think to myself, rather than think about them, I'll just concentrate on good things.
Right. Yeah. Don't let them suck your energy.
I won't, Cammy. If I even feel my brain detaching towards anything of their negative rubbish, I can now psychoanalyze it and go, hang on, and I can turn it around into something productive and creative and good.
Yeah, when I think about them, I feel pity for them,
Mhm.
really.
It's
Yeah.
I mean,
sad.
they have a horrible life. And I mean, all that money and all that stuff, and
None of them are happy, Zach. Look,
no,
all of
not a one of them.
faces like smacked asses. All of them are grumpy. None of them are happy. Have you ever seen a beaming small billionaire? No, they just don't. They're all of their realities are sad realities, and the money doesn't help at all. Out of any of them. Okay, I don't know what kind of people they are anyway to be able to live like that. To want that, to warrant wanting that amount of money is just some sort of insanity.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's a psychopathic trait, I think, and that's what we're dealing with here is psychopaths, isn't it? Whoever's pushing the buttons and making these rules is not really worried about our feelings, our families, or our futures, and that's a definite. Wow, they're hurting everybody. There's just people who's cut away from their families, can't visit them and stuff. They're just hurting kids, doing this insanity in school. It really gets to me, that does. And it's just so much what they're doing to us all. Despicable. Oh, how very dare they? There's my rant over.
How dare
We
they?
got the Martin rant. What's up? Look, guys, I could sit here another 3 hours with you, Martin,
I
as
got-
always, but
Good.
I have to go. My
Good.
granddaughter has texted me twice, wanting me to
No,
go.
my son has as well.
So I'm heading over there. She misses me, and I haven't seen her since I got back because they were doing the whole hiding at the house thing. So now that I'm free to go over there, I'm about to head out. I
Good
love
sense of
you
humor.
all. Thank you, brother. I love you, Martin. Always open door for you. You know that, man. Here, Ironworks, just here talking to me personally, us personally. It don't have to be a show. Just
Okay,
come hang
I'm
out.
fine. I'm
Love
fine.
Thank
Cammy Skype works. Martin. Oh,
Yeah. I'm always about guys anyway. I'm always bouncing around. You know that. It's easy to catch me. I'm linked to every single flat earther probably in Skype.
Nice. All right. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I'm leaving. Y'all don't have to stop. I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Walt, you have a
Love
good
you,
night.
Walt.
Have a good weekend. Love you.
I will. I'll hug the granddaughter extra for everybody.
Please
Aw.
do.
Yeah, enjoy
Yes,
it,
y'all.
Walt.
Love y'all. Bye.
much
Toodles.
love, Walt.
Not bad.
Well, we're right there about 3 hours. I reckon we could call it a night.
Wow. Is it?
Yeah.
That's 2:00 in the morning.
Goes quick, doesn't it?
I don't know. I talked for 2.5 hours before I joined. 20 minutes before I joined this. So in reality, I 5.5.
Yeah, that makes for a long evening.
Well, pass. I'm happy with every single second of it. I'm grateful for all.
I love to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah, if you're not grateful for what you got. I did. Feeling sorry for yourself is no good in this place, is it? Because that's just selfish, needy rubbish, isn't it? And it's not about that. And it's a mental construct and rubbish and not real. It's just invented on their rubbish that they're giving you in their head. You should do this, or you should have this, and you should have that. Do you really? When you analyze,
This is what we make it.
yeah, you got it. Got everything you need right here, right now. Yeah. You got your health, you ain't got anything. You ain't got your sanity, you ain't got anything. And you ain't got your friends. You ain't got anything. You got all those. So, pitching. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, I got to dance. It's late for me, man. I got to go. I got neighbors.
go to sleep. Thank you so much for hanging out with us again this evening, Martin. It's been a pleasure as always.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I absolutely love coming on GFR. I'm one of the fans. I'm always here anyway. I watched this morning show. I really enjoyed it. That guy was really good. I liked what he had to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has got quite the story.
Yeah, some interesting stuff. I got to be honest. I was just pottering around. I had it on loud and was listening to him. Yeah, good.
Well, awesome. Well, we're not monetized here. So if you see commercials on any of our videos, it's probably because there's copyright material in there somewhere. And somebody's made a claim against it, and they just want to earn a little bit of credit off the hard work of our labor. That being said, I did want to close out tonight's show with a little song.
Ooh.
Whoops, and can I share a bit of news before we shut down? Or
Hells yes, Cammy.
hells yes. First of all, everybody send me luck and things on like the procedure that I'm going through as far as and during
You're right about the edge of your limit there, Cammy. Might have to take a few steps
Right.
backwards.
whoops, are we garbly? While we've been on the show, Globebusters 2 just received a hard strike. And so streaming on Globebusters will put out notices, but streaming on Globebusters will be on DLive, possibly Jeranism, but we now have hard strikes saying cannot stream on 1 and 2.
Whoa.
Damn.
So for our season finale, it will be on DLive, everybody.
Right.
Please join us on DLive, and then hopefully we'll do the move. And when we start the new season, the Globebusters main channel should be expired by then, and we should be up and
What?
running.
Bullshit.
I know.
And
It
then-
was
Right. Oh.
it, yeah, it was one of the little videos that we played, and they hit us on it hard. So
Yeah, perfect.
all right, now you can play the song, but I thought I would do like for those in case wondering where to look for Globebusters because it will be in a weird place this Sunday.
Damn, now you got me a little gun shy.
Cool. At least that on Sunday.
Just wanted to thank everybody coming to hang out with us tonight. It's the ideal way for me to spend my Friday evenings. So thank you all for being here. John, Walt, Zach, Cammy, Adam, out there in the ether. I know you're out there, brother. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for letting me come and hang with you guys on a weekly basis for all these years. Even in this weird, tumultuous time. I do enjoy